Chicago-based carriers filed a request with the city to take over 6 additional gates. Last year, United operated 52% of O'Hare departures, but only had 48% of the gates. Illinois health officials reporting a rise in respiratory illness. Most of them have been sparked by flu cases. And experts monitoring say it's the every-year flu that is increasing, while COVID-19 and RSV cases are hard to find in the state. The Bulls caught a glimpse of the future during a 133-124 win over Miami at the UC. Rookie forward Mattis Bezelis had his breakout game. A career-high 24 off the bench in the win. Josh Giddey also 24. Bulls visit the Timberwolves tonight. The Blackhawks aim to avoid a third straight loss when they host Edmonton tonight. Northwestern came through in the clutch last night on their home court. 77-75 winners over USC. Nick Martinelli knocking down the game-winning jumper. 7 seconds to go. Martinelli had 27 on the night. Notre Dame dropped their second game in a row, a loss to Florida State. Number 23 Illini on the road visiting Rutgers at Danny DeVito Arena tonight. Also last night, Loyola crushed St. Bonaventure, and Northern Illinois lost to Bowling Green. It is that time of year in college hoops where upsets really start to sting. Last night, Ole Miss took down number 14 Kentucky, and boy, this sounds odd, but it's true. UCLA in the Big Ten took down number 9 Michigan State 63-61. The news, a service of Fox Valley Coins, currently buying all gold and silver bars, coins, silver dollars, rare date proof, and mint sets. Visit foxvalleycoins.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Are you ready for it? The biggest game of the year is almost here. Will the reigning champs shake it off and defend their title? Or will the birds from Philly write their own love story and fly to victory? This showdown is the one you won't want to miss. Predict the exact score of the big game, and you could win $50,000 big dollars. For terms and conditions and to submit your prediction today, go to 560theanswer.com/game. That's 560theanswer.com/game.
Well, it was during a 10, 12-inch snowstorm, and we probably shouldn't have been delivering, but we were delivering.
Ben and Arvid Huth from Penny Mustard Furnishings.
And they get to the end of the driveway, and it's a long driveway, like a quarter mile long, and it has been plowed. So what they did was they carried that table a quarter mile to the house, delivered it through 10 inches of snow, and then carried the old table, customer's old table, a quarter mile back to the truck. That is just doing whatever it takes to get it done. Yep.
See more at pennymustard.com.
If you own or run a business and you listen to AM 560, you might not realize that the conservative programming that you enjoy is supported by advertisers. Our loyal listeners love to do business with the advertisers they hear every day on AM 560. Now, it probably won't surprise you that there are some businesses who avoid advertising with us because they don't like what we do here. And that's okay, because our audience wants to support businesses that support what we do and think like we think. We would love to have you join the list of successful companies who are already reaching new, like-minded customers. Most AM 560 advertisers have been here for years for one simple reason: they get results. Join our efforts to make a difference in the lives of our listeners who are passionate about supporting our great family of AM 560 advertisers. To learn more, just visit 560theanswer.com/advertise. That's 560theanswer.com/advertise.
Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations, combines heritage and innovation in every cup. Our coffee is locally roasted, hot air roasted, and cold blended in small batches to ensure premium quality. Whether you prefer a 12-ounce bag or a 28-ounce bag, or even the convenience of K-Cups, you'll find Papa Nicholas Coffee at your local retailer. Taste the difference that 5 generations of expertise brings. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee, because great coffee is our family tradition. Visit online at papanicholas.com. That's papanicholas.com.
5:12. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And one major problem this morning, it's on the Bishop Ford, a right lane blocked with an ongoing cleanup of an accident Again, right lane inbound on the Ford right at the Steel Bridge. Traffic, a service of Mattress Firm. It's Mattress Firm's President's Day sale. Get matched to your perfect bed now and sleep at night. Hurry, stop by Mattress Firm to upgrade today. Restrictions apply. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Here's AM 560, Steve Williams.
Cloudy with a bit of snow, sleet, and freezing rain late this afternoon, the high 33. We do have a winter weather advisory tonight. Periods of freezing rain and freezing drizzle, low 31. Clouds and sun tomorrow, the high 42. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Clouds and 27 right now. Next news at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
So the body knows that it needs to heal itself, but it doesn't know how to concentrate it and target it into just one area. So that's where we come in.
By we, Dr. Ashley Caravelli means the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, QC Kinetics.
We put in those treatments, then it sends out like little signalers to your body. We're able to make the body focus on the areas that need the most healing.
QC Kinetics has gathered brilliant medical minds like Dr. Caravelli and Dr. Mitchell Shinecup, a pioneer in the field of regenerative medicine, to lead the way in these innovative pain treatments.
So at QC Kinetics, we have a whole team working nationwide with cutting-edge research to reach our patients and treat them and know that surgery is no longer their only option.
The consultation is free. Find out if you're a candidate. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
For over 23 years, Applied Mechanical Sales has offered boilers, water heaters, and exhaust venting to commercial mechanical contractors. They aid in the selection of standard and high-efficiency hydronic system equipment for replacement or new construction. From schools to churches to high-rises and hotels, Applied Mechanical provides high-quality, cost-effective Camus boilers and water heaters in many of Chicago's most iconic buildings. Mechanical design firms trust Applied Mechanical to support them by specifying the size and type of boilers to best match a building's load profile for the worst of Chicago weather conditions. Engineers and contractors can be confident that they'll experience trouble-free operation for the next 15 to 20 years. Applied Mechanical Sales ensures their boilers are properly installed and operate at peak efficiency long after the initial startup. Go to appliedmechanicalsales.com to schedule a site visit and boiler replacement assessment. That's appliedmechanicalsales.com.
Jeff Tischlar, author of High Tech versus the Highest Tech, has shared his knowledge of the spectacular things that we see in nature as opposed to what man has created, and how this should inform one's faith. Jeff served on the mission field all over the world and has created this highly illustrated and concisely written technical book. The easy-to-read format is understood from the youngest reader to the most intelligent and mature readers. Google and Amazon book reviews include, "This is the best little book I have ever read. It is amazing how much information is in this book." And a beautifully written and illustrated book. The author has a gift for describing complicated technical details in a very understandable style. This book is available now in paperback on Amazon. Search High Tech versus the Highest Tech by Jeff Tischlar. 100% of proceeds go to missions. That's High Tech vs. the Highest Tech by Jeff Tischlar.
MyPillow is excited to announce that they're having the first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 30% on their brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one Mike has worn every day for 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get the 2025 6-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. The initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And the best-selling standard MyPillow, just $14.98. To take advantage of the first ever mega sale, go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship has sailed because right now every order ships absolutely free. MyPillow.com, promo code LIBERTY.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So the ravenous new Marxists were out howling again yesterday about Elon Musk, about the restructuring of USAID, USAID, that agency. This is the hill they are choosing to die on at present. And some of your favorite hysterical demagogues were present and accounted for yesterday. Like Senator Crocodile from Massachusetts.
All right. In the building behind me, Elon Musk is seizing power from the American people. We are here to fight back.
I could listen to her all day long. Such a delightful, the voice of a songbird. Just a delight. So, I mean, that gives you a little bit of the tenor. Of course, you can't have a rally full of hysterics and histrionics and general crack pottery if you don't invite No Justice, No Peace Maxine Waters. Oh, yeah. And Mad Maxine was, again, president accounted for.
And so let me just tell you now. I have Elon Musk's major office in my district. He won't even meet with the local elected officials. He said he was going to tunnel under from his office all the way to the airport so he didn't have to be among the measly people on the ground to get to the airport. He is a low-down, dirty, no good person along with Trump that cannot be trusted, and we must not be afraid of them. Again, when the people fight, we win. When the people fight, we win. When the people say that you'd better see us because we damn sure see you.
Boy, I mean, that rap never gets old, going all the way back to the L.A. riots in the early 90s. It's such a treat. Low down, dirty, no good.
He takes a tunnel to the airport because he doesn't want to see common folk.
I actually thought that was sort of a cell phone on behalf of Mad Maxine there. Yeah, Elon Musk is willing to tunnel from his headquarters to the airport to avoid Maxine Waters. Those are the lengths that he would go to, and I completely understand it.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also text us on the same line.
Of course, the Socialist Spice Girls were well represented. Frances Parker Spice, Chicago's very own, Ayanna Presley.
We will see you in the courts, in Congress, in the streets. Elon Musk is a Nazi Nepo baby.
Oh, he that a baby.
Nazi Nepo baby. Yeah, sure. Right. His success is really the product of nepotism. I mean, I understand that his dad was somewhat successful, but I think Elon has exponentially eclipsed those successes. Anyway, I mean, this is not about having any sort of argument on the merits. This is about shrieking. And I just wonder, boy, I just wonder what they think. I guess this is just a focus on their public sector union, trial lawyer, identitarian-addled base. But if you think that approach, which has really played out, is going to move public opinion in your direction, is going to whip the larger populace into a frenzy over USAID funding, no.
And did you see the people? Like, hardly anybody was there. And who was the congressman with the cane that was? I mean, they just looked so old yesterday and so out of touch and just not, like, nobody's listening to them.
Well, I mean, this is what they have. This is all they know how to do.
Sure.
And I got to say, this, I follow this stuff pretty closely. Yeah. We've got a new entrant onto the stage, as far as I'm concerned, who fits very nicely in with the Socialist Spice Girls and No Justice, No Peace Maxine, Crocodile, the whole, I mean, really nicely. In fact, to some extent,
who is
I think LaMonica McIver. Look, LaMonica McIver from New Jersey stole the show.
We will not take this. We will fight back. Fight back. Fight back. And as I close out, because I know we've been out here for a long time, yes. And goddamn it, shut down the Senate. We are at war. Anytime a person can pay $250 million into a campaign and then be given full access to the Department of Treasury of the United States of America, we are at war.
Yeah, she fits right in. She's beautiful for that group.
Well, there was a vacancy because of Cori Bush's defeat. Cori Bush from St. Louis, security detail spice, and so somebody had to fill that void. And I think LaMonica McIver will do very nicely. Well, shut down the Senate.
Yeah. Do they know how much George Soros gave to campaigns for the past 20 years? Gave billions. I think it was $35 billion total.
Yeah,
they're complaining about Elon Musk money.
I don't know about that, but regardless, the point is, it's like, this is not. There's no point in having discussions on the merits with people like this. It's impossible. Oh, and frankly, your rank and file member of the New Marxist Party, because they'll repeat, maybe not quite in the raised tones, but they'll repeat the same talking points about, when billionaires who are not aligned with us spend a lot of money, it's bad. When billionaires who are aligned with us spend a lot of money, it's good. Yeah, we got it. I mean, there's no talking to these people. So all of this, how are you going to unify the country? I'll tell you what, you tell me how I'm going to unify with LaMonica McIver or Ayanna Pressley or Pocahontas. You tell me how we're going to get together on things with the sort of performances that they put on routinely. This is nothing new. It's just the latest cause celeb.
Are the Dems freaking out more over Elon Musk or the Doge cuts? Or both?
Well, one is connected to the other. Right. Tom in Blue Island.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. To answer your question, it's the only way you can unify with them is if you give them everything they want. So that's, which I know you already know. But
in an open-ended way. That has to be open-ended, too, because there's never an exhaustion of what they want. But anyway, of other people's stuff. But go ahead.
I thought for a hot second there, Dan, when Annie Maxine was saying low down dirty, she was going to call Elon Musk Fred Sanford for a minute.
Yeah, she did. She did go full Ann Esther. You're right. Thanks for the call, Tom. David in Lansing.
Hey, Tom from Blue Island stole my thunder a little bit. Those speakers you played sound like no good, low down jive turkeys to me.
Turkeys. Yeah. Very good.
You know what? The third one sounded like the Dean in the Twisted Sister video from the 80s. I'll see you in detention after school in the basement. You know that guy screaming at everybody.
Yeah.
And if you don't do things their way, it's like nails on a chalkboard. I mean, these people want to keep government as large as possible. How could you be wishing for that? And there's a crowd there that's cheering on, like, keep government big.
They're not going to take it anymore, David. That's right. The other David in Winnetka.
D. Snyder, yeah.
Hey, good morning, you wonderful
Well, D.
souls.
Snyder was the front man for
Right.
Twisted Sister. He wasn't the antagonist in the video. But anyway, go ahead.
Actually, that should have been Trump's tagline for running. We're not going to take him. So here's the thing: like you asked, what are they trying to say? What are they? Whatever. They're not trying to say anything. They're just trying to keep themselves relevant any possible way they can. Especially that Maxine Waters. Oh God! But my point, though. Shouldn't Trump be signing into something right now? Like when they say this crazy stuff, we hear, we laugh, we get a good chuckle. We think, what bunch of crackpots. What the unhinged left here is let's go out and hurt people. Let's create violence. Let's do this. Let's do that. So shouldn't there be some form of regulatory, inciting?
No, not regulatory. I mean, there's nothing they said. I mean, what they said. Thanks for the call, David. I mean, no, we're not the censorious type. They are. So if LaMonica McIver wants to declare war and call for the Senate to be shut down, she's welcome to do it. And you know what we should do with respect to some of those performances that you just heard? Distribute them. This is who you want to align with? These are the people that are making sense to you? To use the worst examples, and there are so many, of this new Marxist party to challenge people. Elon Musk is a Nazi. Shut the Senate down. We're at war over USAID funding.
I mean, that's just one small organization. Can you imagine if they audited the Pentagon?
Again, the best thing you can do is amplify their performances. And by the way, we talked about USAID and why maybe they're so exorcised as they have been over the last couple of days and going through these performances. The funding that USAID was providing to censorship projects overseas, to
military operations,
to in conjunction with Soros and other foundations, to non-prosecution, decarceration, defund the police prosecutors in big blue cities around America. Stephen Miller was on with Ingram yesterday, and he pointed out something else.
There is probably no entity in the government that is more of an entrenched power center of unelected bureaucrats with less accountability, less oversight than USAID. They funnel money to their cronies all over the world through a swampy network of NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and cutouts, including potentially some very troubling elements of focusing on things like regime change and destabilizing foreign countries. But this is not about America's interests. Donald Trump is courageously restoring democracy. Article 2 of the executive branch vests all power by the Constitution. Article 2 of the Constitution vests all power of the executive branch in a president. It's known as the vesting clause. It says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular. Not in the bureaucracy, not in unelected, lifetime tenured career civil servants. Americans voted for one man, Donald J. Trump. They didn't vote for a single bureaucrat at USAID. They voted for Donald Trump to make government accountable to the taxpayer, to make government accountable for them. If the Democrats are saying, as they are, that President Trump cannot implement his agenda at USAID, that Donald Trump cannot fire recalcitrant bureaucrats, what they are saying, what Democrats are saying, is they oppose democracy itself. They oppose the idea that the American people can elect a man, in this case, our President Donald Trump, to reform the government according to the will of the people.
Yeah, I mean, the other piece of the protests yesterday, and the screeching and the screaming and the howling, is projection, right? Oh, unelected bureaucrats, Elon Musk. I mean, you want the executive to defer to unelected bureaucrats at USAID and every other agency. I mean, that's the entire business. They are so awash in their own ignorance and hypocrisy that that many don't even see it. They're just there to, again, play their role. And the ones that do, the string pullers, know exactly what they're doing. They're nefarious, like Pocahontas, I would put in that category. Coming up at 5:38. Hey, we're going to get to see Brandon Johnson's graft room after all, 5:38.
Oh, that sounds exciting. And Dougie's got a new job. We'll explain, but now let's head into the newsroom. Here is the one and only Mike Scott.
27 degrees at 5:33. Arguments over pausing President Trump's order looking to end birthright citizenship will be heard in federal court this morning. Today's arguments come from a suit from immigrant right advocacy groups and 5 pregnant undocumented women. President Trump says Palestinians have no alternative but to leave Gaza and find somewhere else to live. President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met in the Oval Office, with Trump saying the U.S. is prepared to take over the occupied territory. Here's Fox's Lucas Tomlinson.
Standing alongside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for Gaza involves the United States.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years.
Netanyahu appeared open to the idea.
The move was criticized this morning by Saudi Arabia, which has had a rocky relationship with Israel. All 67 victims in last week's deadly mid-air collision near Washington, D.C. have been recovered. The cockpit tail from the cockpit and tail from the regional jet were recovered earlier in the day. Police are on the hunt for a shooter who killed 1 and injured 5 at a warehouse last night in New Albany, Ohio.
We believe we may know their location. We don't have any reason to believe that they are a general threat to society, more than it appears at this point to be a targeted type of attack.
New Albany, Ohio Chief of Police Greg Jones says the search continues for the shooter. A mass shooting in Sweden is being called the worst in that country's history. Police say it was a gunman that killed 10 yesterday at an adult education center west of Stockholm. The gunman was also killed. 6 people have been hospitalized with injuries. The NFL making news this morning, removing the end racism message that would have been in one of the end zones during the Super Bowl. This Sunday will actually be the first since 2000 without one of the end zones saying end racism. Instead, the NFL is replacing that with the phrase choose love. Tensions are high among City Hall members over what many have labeled an anti-Semitic art piece at the Chicago Cultural Center. City Council member Deborah Silverstein opened a hearing and questioned the placement of the anti-Semitic art at the Chicago Cultural Center.
If somebody submitted a puppet of Mayor Johnson with his hands covered in blood protesting the removal of ShotSpotter, would that be displayed?
Tempers flared during a debate over the controversial pro-Hamas terrorist puppet yesterday when Alderman Byron Sigcho Lopez appeared to call Alderman Bill Conway a white supremacist. Mayor Brandon Johnson continues to waffle over testifying before Congress over sanctuary cities. When asked about the matter yesterday, the mayor said there's ongoing conversations, and that was confirmed by the mayor's corporation counsel, Mary Richardson Lowry.
With respect to the Oversight Committee's invitation, we are in active discussions with them relative to the content of that invitation.
COPA releasing their video of an officer-involved shooting from last month inside of a senior living home in the Little Village neighborhood. The officers are seen in that footage released by COPA, opening fire as Timothy Glaze exits an apartment at the Albany Terrace facility holding a knife. The officers were responding to a 911 call of a woman who claimed she was being attacked by her boyfriend. Bulls caught a glimpse of the future last night in a win over Miami, 133-124. Rookie forward Matas Buzelis had a breakout game, finishing with a career-high 24 off the bench. The Bulls visit the Timberwolves tonight. College hoops, Northwestern comes through in the clutch with a 77-75 last-second win over USC at Welsh Ryan. Notre Dame fell to Florida State. The number 23 Illini visit Rutgers at Danny DeVito Arena later on tonight. And the Cubs beef up their bullpen ahead of spring training. Cubs acquire reliever Ryan Brazier in a deal with the Dodgers. The News is a service of Balance of Nature, fruits and veggies in a capsule. Order online at balanceofnature.com to save 35% as a preferred customer. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
You know, I'm 80 years old, I'm a veteran, and the reds and the greens, I really appreciate the vegan capsules from Balance of Nature. So I can definitely tell you it's all 100% positive. It really, really works.
I love the fiber and spice. I'm getting started back on the fruits and vegetables, but the fiber and spice, it's the best fiber I've ever taken in the last 20 years.
It's the best gift I've ever given myself. I just feel better. I swear it's due to Balance of Nature.
I am really, really happy with the product and couldn't say more to advise people to buy them.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
With over 50 years of precision tooling, that's a lot of job shop work and custom parts. And it's why Bruscher Machining is the go-to CNC turning and machining company in Chicagoland. If you have a custom project, whether it's a single prototype or a short-run production of a few thousand pieces, give them a call today for your free custom quote. 630-876-1661. That's 630-876-1661. Or visit BruscherMachining.com. That's BRUCHER Machining.com. They also provide heat treating, balancing, plating, and surface coating, welding and fabrication, plus project management. Bruscher Machining guarantees to consistently deliver high-quality parts and solutions on time for reasonable prices. Yeah, everyone says that, but the proof is in the tooling. Stop by to meet their team of seasoned pros and tour the facility located in West Chicago. To learn more about how CNC machining can turn your tough project into an operational reality, contact Bruscher Machining today for your free custom quote. 630-876-1661.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention, if you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes significantly. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-216-0307 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-216-0307. That's 800-216-0307. Again, 800-216-0307.
5:42, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Bishop Ford is entirely shut down due to an accident on the outbound side. Right before 159th, you're jammed all the way down to the Tri-State as they continue to clean up that accident. And in LaGrange this morning, eastbound Ogden Avenue is shut down between LaGrange Road and Beacon due to a broken water main. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Cloudy in your forecast with a really icy mix in the PM. High of 33, ice early overnight and freezing drizzle, a low of 31. 27 at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We have an update on the biggest story going right now, the BLM Brandon Johnson graft room at City Hall, or gift room, I think they call it.
Yeah, you call it, yeah.
Gift room at City Hall. There's an update after a careful consideration in consultation with council.
We guess.
We've got some movement here. But first, before he tells us how this is going to play out, just a little bit of understanding of how things work in the inner sanctum, the heartbeat of Chicago. I'm talking about the fifth floor.
All right. I'm going to do my best to try to break this down as simplistically as I possibly can. You just can't come to the fifth floor demanding to roam the fifth floor. The FBI can't do that.
What?
Just can't do that.
Yeah, they can't.
And there are people in this department. I want to make this point absolutely clear.
I want to make it clear to you.
And the history of the city of Chicago, whether it's the OIG or any other individual, has ever asked to see the book log.
Well,
I want to make it perfectly clear to you, Dan. Do you understand?
They want to see it now. They want to see the gift log now in the graft room. I mean, the gift shop or the gift room or whatever they call it.
It's a gift closet, I heard.
It turns out the Inspector General made a document request to get a copy of the logbook of gifts that have been received by mayors, because this includes Lightfoot, between February of 2022 and March of 2024. During that time period, so that would have been till like May of 2023, a year and a half of a little less, that Lightfoot, she logged 144 gifts, while BLM Brandon from
got my fruit
May
cake.
of 23 to March of 24 logged 236 entries if you're scoring at home. All right, so here's how it's going to work.
Okay.
Now that you got,
we guess what's in the closet, like what's in the box.
But we already know.
Well, there might be other things in there.
Okay.
I was thinking the Harold Washington painting of him.
The one of him in lingerie.
Lingerie, yes. Was it pink lingerie? I can't remember. I was just a self-absorbed teenager back then.
I've tried to unsee that picture, so I can't help you there. I doubt that's in the gift closet. I don't know that would have been gifted to the city by the artist, or it would have been accepted. But we know the Hugo Boss cufflinks and the Kate Spade handbag and the Mont Blanc pen and the men's shoes and so forth. Wonderful whiskey, jewelry, handbags.
You name it, he has it in
all kinds of goodies. So here's how it's going to work.
Yeah.
You can't go see it. Not in person. It's too risky. Too valuable. There probably is a Fabergé egg in there or something. And they can't afford to have security, a security detail there to entertain the hoi polloi. They want to see all of the gifts that have been bestowed upon the face of the city. So they're going to put it online. And to explain that to us, please give your attention to Mary Richardson Lowry, the Corp Counsel for the city.
Those things are going to be posted publicly so the public knows there's on this list of gifts what came in. Sometimes the items are perishable, so there'll be language that will include those will be redistributed. Sometimes when you receive certain categories of gifts, it's more appropriate to then for the then sitting mayor to consider nonprofits to regift those to. That will also be part of the what will be published going forward.
It's a new gift regime, part of transforming the city, making it a better, bigger, better, safer, stronger
Bigger, better,
Chicago.
safer Chicago.
Yeah, bigger, better, safer Chicago with a new gift graft room gift shop policy. There it is. Big news. You can view it online. I assume, although Mary Richardson Lowry was not detailed, that you'll be able to see like who gave the Prada bag and so on and so forth.
I bet Beyonce gave that one.
Perhaps. I don't know. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. BLM Brandon Johnson there striking a blow for good government. That's what I hear. What do you hear?
I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that? I was trying to tell Justin. I wanted to get Mayor Brandon Johnson's audio. Remember when he was like, you guys don't understand. I mean, Beyonce wants my number. Remember that? When he was so starstruck at all the people that really like him, they're sending him gifts, and it's just like he couldn't handle the fame.
Here's an idea.
Being him.
Okay, here's an idea.
Yeah.
Here's an idea. Let's see. In lieu of gifts, make a donation to your favorite charity. Well, why do we have all of this mind share and lawyers, like Corp Counsel, having to set up a video page and go back and forth with the Inspector General about logs and what's going to be posted online and how that's going to work, and whoever receives gifts on behalf of the city and places them in the graft closet. I mean, what is all of this? How about just say, everyone's on notice. We're not taking gifts. We don't need gifts. If I want my black wife and my 3 black children to have Hugo Boss cufflinks or Prada bags, then I'll buy them myself.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Our text line is now up and running.
All of this just starts from this premise that this is normal and this makes sense. Why are politicians accepting any gifts? Just right. Send the message. Don't send gifts. We'll just return them to you. How about that? Too simple?
It makes too much sense, Dan.
Craig in Mount Greenwood.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Man, I'm glad you're on this topic. I mean, it burns me, man. Every time I think of this thing, just put 2 things next to each other. So when they wanted to sniff Melania's underpants and getting all the private stuff and Trump's personal residence and everything, the FBI, they come busting in there, get your security out of here, they're in our way, and we'll do whatever the hell we want here and everything. Here's a municipal building with this goofball Brandon, he's calling the shot. Well, how the heck can there be such a difference in the authority of Brandon Johnson to tell the FBI, stay out, we'll tell you what we're going to do and everything, when they just showed us with the Trump that they can do whatever the heck they want and everything, and you know what I'm saying, Dan and Amy? What's going on here?
Thanks for the call. Well, I mean, the FBI was not trying to get into the graft room. I think he was just saying that as a matter of course. Like, not even the FBI without a warrant, ostensibly, can just roam around the 5th floor, the sanctified 5th floor. Whatever. I mean, it's just posturing by BLM Brandon. And the whole thing is so silly, but this is a silly city.
Yeah.
That's obsessed, and a silly Chicago press corps that's obsessed with this idiotic graft room. And nobody has said the obvious thing, which I'm sure many of you were thinking, and I said out loud, no gifts. Right. We can't accept gifts more than $50. Why do we need all of this time and energy wasted on ethics ordinances and Inspector General undercover operations to try to get into the graft room? It's so asinine. We're not accepting gifts. Don't send us anything. We'll send them back. In lieu of flowers, in lieu of Prada bags, make a donation to this charity or your favorite charity, whatever.
Charity of your choice. Yeah, that would make more sense.
This is such an unbelievably juvenile electorate and city leadership. Unbelievably.
He's in way over his head.
It's not just him. Mike in Union.
Hey, good morning. When you do work with watch a ethics video, when you receive gifts, you're supposed to pay in kind their full value. Is he above the ethics rules? He broke them. He violated the law of the city of Chicago. Nothing will happen, though. So.
Yeah, I mean, who hasn't? Yeah, which mayor hasn't? I mean, not that it justifies him continuing the practice, but this, I mean, the idea of tickets to this game or to this box for this concert or other, honorifics that are bestowed upon the mayor and city council members and other politicians. I mean, the general population actually gets fixated on this, but they don't really care.
No.
I mean, it's just exasperating. And then you have to listen to these phony baloney goo-goos with their moralizing about ethics ordinances. Oh, the vaunted Inspector General's office. I mean, missing, the mountains for the molehills as is customary in Chicago. Matt, Mount Greenwood.
Hey, Dan, you're spot on. I'm sorry I can see you just being miserable there, but this guy is such an ignorant fool, and he's wallowing in his gifts. I can see him like a kid in a candy store. It's all mine. You can't have it. You can't touch it. He is the epitome of stupid. And to think about this, the man can't even pay his water bill, but now he's so self-important. Spending $30,000 on here.
Everybody wants to be his friend.
Yeah, exactly. In lieu of gifts, contribute to my GoFundMe so I can pay my water bill and get my hair cut.
And pay my outstanding parking violations.
Thanks for the call, Matt. Kevin, West Side.
Yeah, I think all of it ought to go to a weekly auction, and they should use it to pay the underfunded pensions in Chicago.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks for the call, Kevin. Another more GoFundMes. New polling out on BLM Brandon, by the way.
Doesn't look too good, huh?
Back in May of last year, he was already upside down by a pretty wide margin. His approval rating, 29% or 28% approve, 57% disapproved of the job he was doing. That was in May of last year. And the intensity, strongly approve back in May of last year, 9%. Strongly disapprove, 41%. Those are really, really bad numbers. Basically, political death is what those numbers represent.
You're done.
And
but it's gotten worse, right?
Crane Chicago Business, the anti-business magazine. Now it's worse. Now it's 14% have a favorable view and 80% have an unfavorable view.
Wow. Looks like he's going to have to go back to CPS.
Well, yeah, he doesn't have to worry about logging his gifts in the graft room at CTU. That's the good news.
Yeah.
And also, speaking of CTU, this is sort of interesting because there's been some real attrition in the views on CTU, which is encouraging. I mean, a little bit of silver lining here. 29% favorable, 60% unfavorable. Stacey Davis Gates, too, is relatively well known, and she's pretty unpopular, too. 18.5% favorable, 55% unfavorable. So it doesn't seem like Stacey Davis Gates is lining up to follow BLM Brandon, but, who knows who is. In 27, by the time 27 rolls around, and BLM Brandon is, the Walking Dead politically, which he is at present. We're going to have, what's going to happen. It's going to be the Kim Fox, Eileen O'Neill, Madigan, McGaffigan, Burke, whatever her name is. It's going to be that all over again. It's going to be some sort of vanilla establishment type that's going to present themselves as like the phony reformer to return Chicago to the good old days. And really what will happen, I think more than likely. No, I'm happy to be surprised and have no idea what the field will look like. But I just see how these things play out over and over again, just like people didn't think it could get worse after Lori Lightfoot. they don't pay attention to Chicago. I mean, they don't understand Chicago. So, happy to be pleasantly surprised. But you just have an electorate that is that shows not much evidence of being motivated for system change. So we just like to paper over things with, something that is slightly more palatable, and then that person can more quietly and competently manage the going out of business sale for the city of Chicago. That's what I expect will happen. But, I'm a cynic. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
So when we saw the advertisements for this by reputable people, I told my husband, I said, well, we don't have anything to lose, so let's do it. Within a month, I could see a difference. It's really great. Y'all should let me do those commercials. Do you know how many people I have gotten to take Balance of Nature?
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan, I don't know if you saw this, but apparently that illegal sleeping over Governor Murphy's garage has moved out.
Yeah. I'm sure that that woman, as soon as Phil Murphy made it public, she's like, okay, time to go.
Bye-bye.
That doesn't mean that Tom Homan still shouldn't take an interest in Phil Murphy breaking the law. So I hope he does. We'll see.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Socialist Spice Girl Jasmine Crockett is sick of mediocre white boys and their tears. 6:06.
Today it's going to be cloudy, a little icy mix in the late afternoon, a high of 33 degrees. It is now 6 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
It's a radical new plan for Gaza where a ceasefire still holds. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip.
And President Trump wants to demolish all the war destruction in Gaza and develop it into like a Riviera for the Middle East. And Fox's Jared Halpern reports from the White House.
President Trump says he won't roll out deploying U.S. troops to support a U.S.-owned reconstruction of Gaza.
We'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that.
Standing alongside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the president says he wants the U.S. to take ownership of Gaza and have Palestinians resettled in Jordan, Egypt, and elsewhere.
And this is Netanyahu's reaction.
He sees a different future for that piece of land that has been the focus of so much terrorism.
Others in the region are less enthusiastic. Saudi Arabia, an important U.S. ally, saying it would never establish ties with Israel without the creation of a Palestinian state. Rejection, too, from Gaza's neighbour Egypt and one of Europe's only mainly Muslim countries, Turkey. Hamas calling the plan a recipe for chaos.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. President Trump just posted on Truth Social about Iran that it cannot have a nuclear weapon, adding, reports the U.S. and Israel will blow Iran into smithereens are greatly exaggerated, adding he instead wants a verified nuclear peace agreement with Iran. Another Trump post congratulates Pam Bondi, who will be sworn in today as Attorney General after the Senate confirmed Bondi last night. There's a manhunt for a gunman who went on a shooting spree at the warehouse where he works and then fled last night in New Albany, Ohio.
It's a suburb of Columbus, Ohio. At least one person is dead and 5 others have been transported to local hospitals. The extent of their injuries remains unknown. The shooting happened inside a plant that makes cosmetics.
Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer, a police officer shot dead in North Las Vegas, Nevada, when he confronted a gunman who was also killed in return fire. America's listening to Fox News. 27 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Watch out. Slippery conditions on the way, starting in central Illinois and then drifting north to the Chicago area. National Weather Service says freezing rain is expected. Snow is possible as well. Tensions are high among city council members over what many have labeled an anti-Semitic art piece at the Chicago Cultural Center.
You got to go. You got to go. Sergeant at Arms.
Alderman Nick Sposato kicking out Alderman Byron Sigcho Lopez, who appeared to call Alderman Bill Conway a white supremacist.
Things got heated in there. We talked about it behind closed doors. He apologized and said that those remarks were not directed towards me. I have no desire to escalate. I appreciate him doing that, and I have no desire to escalate this
Tempers did flare during a debate over the controversial pro-Hamas terror puppet yesterday at City Hall. Meantime, Mayor Brandon Johnson continues to waffle over testifying before Congress over sanctuary cities. The Mayor's Corporation Counsel, Mary Richardson Lowry, addressed the U.S. House Oversight and Government Reform Committee's request for documents and communications, all related to sanctuary city policies.
With respect to the Oversight Committee's invitation, we are in active discussions with them relative to the content of that invitation.
Meantime, the mayor met with advocates of his spending plan last night in what he termed a lakeside chat.
We never compromised our value system. We negotiated the details around this budget so that there was a fiscally responsible, balanced budget.
Johnson also took questions on Tuesday on reforms in Washington by President Trump and that impact the Department of Education and now CPS.
We have to take all of his threats seriously. It's incredibly problematic, quite frankly abhorrent, that this president would move to end opportunities for bilingual education, special education, transportation within our public school system. So these threats are very real.
Chicago Teachers Union held walk-ins at over 100 schools across the city on Tuesday morning. Parents, teachers, and elected officials, along with the CTU, raising concern over the Trump administration's policies on immigration.
We value them. We know they're coming every day, and they're under attack by this administration in the White House, and we're going to protect and defend their interests.
Residents at an Arlington Heights apartment complex looking for temporary housing after a huge fire broke out Tuesday night in one of the buildings. The blaze erupting around 6 p.m. at that complex in the 2300 block of West Nichols. Bulls beat the Heat 133-124. College buckets. Northwestern a Big Ten win over USC 77-75. Also last night, Loyola beat St. Bonaventure. Northern Illinois lost to Bowling Green. The news, a service of In Grace with Jim Scudder Jr. Now heard Sunday morning at 7:30 right here on AM 560. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
On March 4th, President Trump will make his first address to a joint session of Congress of his new presidency.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
And AM 560 The Answer is throwing a watch party, and you're invited to join us for dinner at the Meridian Banquets and Conference Center in Rolling Meadows. Enjoy dinner before the speech, and then watch the speech with AM 560's Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, and Sean Thompson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/watch. That's 560theanswer.com/watch.
Hi, AM 560 family. It's Tom Sadeka, founder and CEO of Freedom Chamber, the pro-American business network. I'm reaching out to my fellow patriot business owners and entrepreneurs. Please join us at freedomchamber.net, along with our co-founders, Job Creators Network, Salem Media, Epoch Times, Patriot Mobile, Old Glory Bank, and other patriotic businesses. We have built this community to unite us to thrive and restore the American dream. Join us and take advantage of great information and intel from our key advisors, exclusive savings for business services, tech, marketing, and advertising. Find a new client or vendor in our growing network. The latest news, our members now have exclusive access to group health plans and cost containment solutions that save big dollars and improve care. And now with a big voice in DC, together we can impact American small business together for the better. Please join us at freedomchamber.net.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people pay to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Hey, AM 560 homeowners, are you tired of all the money and repairs going into your house? Need an easy solution to convert your home into cash? This is Jeff from JeffBuysYourHouse.com. For nearly 20 years, our trusted, proven, and professional team has been simplifying the home selling process in Chicagoland. Here's the deal. You are in control. Pick the closing date that works best for you. No need to worry about repairs or any cleanout. We will buy your house as is, saving you frustration, time, and money. That's right, a fair cash offer within 24 hours, and we actually buy your house. No funny business. With our simple process, there are no fees and no commissions. You can trust our proven, professional, and credible service. Our local, high-integrity, and veteran-owned team will go above and beyond to make it stress-free. Sound interesting? Sell your house to the trusted source by calling us at 630-895-9530. That's 630-895-9530 or jeffbuysyourhouse.com.
6:09, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. It's all a service of Valdecas Windows for the discerning homeowner. Your award-winning Platinum Elite Pella certified contractor is Valdecas Windows at valdecas.com. Inbound Bishop Ford, 24 minutes into the Dan Ryan. You have an accident on the right-hand shoulder inbound between the Tri-State and your backup, it starts at the Tri-State all the way to 154th at the accident site. In Lamont, accident with injuries, Archer Avenue southbound north of 135th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A winter weather advisory in effect this evening. Clouds and some snow, sleet, and freezing rain today, the high 33. Periods of freezing rain and freezing drizzle late tonight, low 31. Clouds and sun tomorrow, the high 42. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
27 at O'Hare, clouds and 28 at Midway. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Trump ordered the FBI to turn over the names of agents involved in J6 investigations. And there was some hesitancy to do that, but ultimately the FBI lawyers deemed the order from the president as a lawful one, and so they complied. 5,000 names are reportedly on that list. 5,000 agents in the FBI out of 13,000. I know there's 35,000 employees, but there's 13,000 special agents. 5,000 of them were on J6 cases, 40% of the special agents.
Weren't we told there was 26 of them or something?
Perhaps on site that day, but this is J6 investigations, not just on January 6th itself. And the point is, you're going to tell me you're devoting 40% of your special agents to these cases, most of which involved otherwise law-abiding, non-violent offenders, and the FBI was on the ball, was being externally vigilant, as Tiny Dancer might say, as to public safety threats. They were doing, they had the necessary resources devoted to their counterterrorism responsibilities, for example. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. It's incredible.
It makes me sick.
5,000 of the 13,000 agents are on J6 cases. But, they weren't monomaniacal or anything.
We got a text message. Dan and Amy, don't forget, when you're talking about the failures of the FBI, remember that the last several school shooters were on FBI lists because people had turned them in and the FBI had failed to investigate credible threats given to them about school shooters.
Well, I know, but a lot of that precedes J6 too. So, and those are complicated. I mean, it's definitely, look. Generally speaking, the resource allocation issue is absolutely a legitimate one, and there's opportunity cost. If you're going to devote 40% of your special agents to this, then you're under resources for all of these other things, arguably. Otherwise, why do you need 13,000 agents? If you've got it all handled with 8,000, then why do you need 13,000? In case of January 6th happens again? I don't think so. That's not how you staff an agency. And just on that, before we get into it a little bit deeper, there is a lawyer suing the Department of Justice on behalf of the J6 the FBI agents involved in J6 investigations because they fear political retribution and so on and so forth. Oh, really? This is just classic. It's perfect. Pam Keith is the attorney that's representing these agents who filed suit against the DOJ. And back in the day, here's some of Pam Keith's social media content. America needs industrial strength disinfectant of the MAGA bacteria in our institutions. Biden needs the strength and vision to see the danger and deal with it. Clean the wound, Mr. President. Fire them all. Don't ask us to defeat MAGA, but then let MAGA have positions of power and to hurt us from within. If we are to remove MAGA at the ballot box, then you must remove MAGA from our institutions. Fire DeJoy, fire Flynn, fire Ray. So here's one of those delicious examples of the left now saying, hey, don't you dare do to us what we did or attempted to do to you. Boomerang. Andy McCabe, Raggedy Andy on MSNBC, weeping for these FBI agents who have been listed as J6 inquisitors.
And so to be targeted in this way for termination potentially or retribution simply for doing their jobs on a major national security case is incomprehensible to them or anybody that knows the organization. I've talked to more FBI people in the last 4 days than I did in the prior 4 years. As John has described it accurately, it is a place in utter disarray right now. People are worried about, how am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to support my family? If I lose, if you're anywhere in the middle of that career, not close to retirement, if you get fired, you're done. That's the end of your reputation, your ability to get a new job. You lose your pay, you lose your chance at a pension, you lose your health insurance. This is a moment of terror for these people. It is absolutely disgraceful that they are being put through this in the middle of some political gamesmanship or active retribution. They don't deserve to be treated this way. It's unlawful and it's disgusting.
Well, it's not unlawful, or at least that's arguable, because a determination was made with in-house counsel at FBI that it was in fact a lawful order. And I'm sure the president's lawyers advised him similarly. So, I mean, the declaration, this is unlawful, this is a constitutional crisis, this is what you get from these rabid leftists like Andy McCabe, who pretends to be, a law enforcement official. He's just another shill on MSNBC, no different than Jen Psaki, who called this order to disclose who was involved in J6 investigations part of the hostile takeover of the government.
Because what's happening right now is a hostile takeover of the U.S. government. There's no other way to describe it. It's happening clearly across our justice system, where just a few hours ago, a deadline passed for FBI employees to fill out a questionnaire detailing their involvement in January 6 cases. In other words, they were asked to fill out basically a loyalty test.
How's that? How's it a loyalty test? It's just nonsense.
I don't know. They make these declarative statements thinking that they know stuff and just to push their narrative.
And what's wrong with knowing who was involved in J6 investigations?
Like half their staff.
The scale of it is jarring. Yeah. Now to have Pat Cash Patel, Pam Bondi go through it. I mean, I'm not saying that all of those FBI agents who were involved in J6 investigation should be purged.
No.
And Trump hasn't said anything of that sort either. I mean, to knock out 40% of your special agents in one fell swoop, probably not a good idea. And some, as we talked about the other day, some of these FBI agents, the rank and file, they're, between a rock and a hard place, even if they don't really want to spend the time they were directed to spend on J6 investigations. The little old lady escorted into the Capitol by Capitol Police, and now she's, wanted by by Garland's Department of Justice. They don't want to spend time on those cases, but they're directed to. So I think as he started with the sort of the senior executives that were sacked over the weekend, that's where you go. You go to the shot callers. For starters. Now, if there's a rank and file agent who behaved maliciously, unprofessionally, whatever, then, okay, identify those agents and they should be out of a job too. But this is about starting to get a handle on the full scope of what was done and at whose direction it was done and then how it was done. And then you make judicious decisions from there in terms of aligning the agency to its mission again. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. George in Naperville.
Yes, how many thousand FBI agents were going into our college campuses in the BLM riots?
Right, thanks for the call, George. Troy in St. John, Indiana.
Hey, this is Troy in St. John, Indiana, Dan.
Yeah.
To your point, I agree. They shouldn't purge 40%, but they definitely need to look into this because look up ghost buses. There was at least 2 buses full of ghost buses are designed to obscure the identity of who's in there. All right. And they were escorted in, the people on these buses. So it was obviously either FBI agents or Antifa. And Ray lied about assets and agents there. He's admitted 26 so far. I can virtually guarantee you there were more.
Well, I mean, he was. To your point, he was lying to us the whole time. He for years he did this whole gosh, I have no idea, and sort of suggesting he has no way to find out FBI agents and or assets that were on site on January 6th. Of course, he knew. Or could get the information. He just chose not to. I mean, that was this kind of stonewalling that turned Ray into a disgrace. And now we're finally getting some answers and some information, and there's going to be at least somewhat of a reckoning, and it's long overdue.
Right, and if we compare Ray to Cash Patel, who has all kinds of managerial experience. Ray was put in there because he was a lawyer, and he was there to say the canned answers so that no one got tripped up in perjury. But he had no experience with the agency whatsoever.
Hey, Troy, you were on site on Jan 6?
Yes, sir.
Did you get in trouble?
I didn't, because we would have walked in the Capitol, but one of the 2 ladies I was with fell in the mud, and we had
right.
The mud guy. Yeah.
The mud guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
get you some mud flaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm employed by the Indiana Department of Corrections.
Oh, okay.
So, we went for a reason, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have been fighting with Ashley Babbitt. If you were breaking into the place, that's not what we came for.
Yeah, right.
She was stopping them.
What are you going to be doing at 12:53 today? You know what 12:53 is, right?
No, sir.
What people don't know?
No. What's
I want to know how people are spending their minute of silence today at 12:53 p.m.
For what? For who?
Oh, that's the Women's March. The Women's March has announced a weekly minute of silence, Wednesdays at 12:53, the moment J6 rioters first crossed the barricades.
Nice.
So you can spend it meditating. Wow. You can spend it in quiet contemplation.
I could also spend it because it's none of their damn business what I.
You can spend it talking to Andy Dufresne if you want, since you're in corrections, Troy.
I will spend it glued to the Blaze, the first OAN. You know, the only stations that give us any kind of truth aside from AM 560.
There you go. Yeah. Thanks, Troy. Appreciate it.
Hey, have a good day at work, Troy.
Yeah, be safe. Department of Corrections. That's no joke. A lot of bad hombres, to borrow a Trumpism, in state prisons.
I love when
too.
you speak Trump.
Yeah.
Cute.
China. Wow. Dave in Detroit.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
My analysis is that if you can afford to put 40% of your agents on J6 investigations, that's exactly the number of agents that you can get rid of.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for the call, Dave.
They were assigned by somebody.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
but
I think
almost half of their force investigating J6ers. Dear Lord. A waste of time and energy.
Yeah, well, because groups like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers are like existential threats to the Republic, and they're just not. I mean, that's not to say that they're not some goofballs in there. It's people that broke the law and need to be held accountable under the law, and so on and so forth. But I mean, the idea that they are, on the level with, like organized Islamist terrorist cells and so forth, which is how they're sort of described, is absurd.
Maybe Biden made the call to have that happen. Or Obama.
By the way, new representation for the big guy.
Oh, what do you
Trump
mean?
was asked about it, too. He signed with Creative Arts Agency.
Oh, that's right. To do what? Who, you think he's going to have a lot of speaking engagements or book deals, Dan?
Peter Doocy asked Trump about it yesterday.
What do you think about Joe Biden signing on with big talent agency?
You got to be kidding. He signed on with the talent agency?
He does. He's got some entertainment agents now.
I think he's got bigger problems than that. I really do. I think he's got much bigger problems than that, but I wish him well. We inherited a mess. This place is a mess, but it's quickly being solved, the problem. We're going to make America great again. Thank you very much.
I heard that one.
Well, he's doing it. I mean, I kind of want Trump to take a day off so we could catch up.
I like he's got bigger problems to worry about.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Uh-oh, foreshadowing something, Dan?
Well, Pam Bondi is now installed. Kash Patel is coming next. That's all I'm saying. Again, how you're spending your moment of silence today and every Wednesday going forward, now that the Women's March has so decreed, 12:53 p.m. On Wednesdays as your moment of silence to commemorate January 6th when they say rioters. I prefer the term insurrectionists because they tried to overthrow the Republic. Insurrectionists first crossed the barricades, right?
You got to be kidding me. I mean, they are grasping at straws. They look so stupid and so desperate right now. No one's going to do that. 12:53. Did you know that was the time, Dan?
It's funny. Word hasn't gotten out. Even Kamala and the candidates that were on the ballot this last go-round gave up on the J6 rap about around Labor Day for the most part. I mean, they'd bring it up intermittently, but they thought that was going to be the big thing, and they thought that Trump's convictions in Manhattan were going to be the big thing.
Felon.
And it just doesn't have any currency. People have like real quality of life issues that they want addressed.
Right. Everything failed. That's why they're failing, losing party. Oh, real quick, you were talking about jobs because Biden has a new talent agent representing him. Dougie's got a new job. He's the former second gentleman, and lover of Kamala Harris. He's been hired by George and Alex Soros's law firm.
I hope that
he's going to do legal work. They say, really, at a law firm? Okay.
I hope that leaves enough time for him to ply his side hustle in the San Fernando Valley, if you know what I mean. Bob in Montclair.
Dan, I just finished Stephen Friend's book, True Blue.
The FBI allocated the J6 cases to all 56 field offices to raise their statistics about a national white supremacist threat, domestic terrorism, and those that went along need to be canned, along with the upper management. Those that balked were fired and walked out of the offices. The FBI needs to be cleaned up and cleaned out. That's my position.
Thanks. Sorry to cut you off. Thanks for the call, Bob. That's a good book. That book that Steve Friend wrote. And I know we've been talking about this for a long time. We've been talking about this. Angelo Codavia, dearly departed now, but I mean the need to it's overused to rethink, reimagine, to take a hard look at CIA and FBI and other intel agencies, but CIA and FBI. Do we have mission creep that needs to be addressed? Do we have political rot in middle and upper layers of management that needs to be addressed? These are big questions that need serious people to spend the time to investigate and come up with evidence-based conclusions and take the corresponding action. By the way, I hadn't thought of it this way, but this is excellent. A text from 219 as to the weekly minute of silence.
Yes.
What a gift that is from the Women's March. A full minute of silent women.
Yammer, 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 yammer. That's all we do all day.
Especially the pea hat variety.
Oh, yeah. Should I put on don my pea hat while I have my minute of silence?
Please don't.
Of reflection.
Steve and Roselle.
Yeah, on the left, they say you can't oppose the FBI or the Department of Education because it's created by an act of law. Well, why not use the power of the purse and fund them a total of $1 for the year? And then if the agents are really providing a valuable service, have them reapply at an expanded U.S. Marshals Service.
All right, thanks for the call, Steve. Dave in Orlando.
Hey, Dan, maybe we don't fire 40% of the FBI, but there are 50 goofs that I want thrown out on their ass, and that is those Patriot Front. I want them gone. I want to know who they are, and I want them gone because they're not legit. They're a psyop.
Okay.
Part of the FBI.
Thanks for the call, Dave. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you own or run a business and you listen to AM 560, you might not realize that the conservative programming that you enjoy is supported by advertisers. Our loyal listeners love to do business with the advertisers they hear every day on AM 560. Now, it probably won't surprise you that there are some businesses who avoid advertising with us because they don't like what we do here. And that's okay, because our audience wants to support businesses that support what we do and think like we think. We would love to have you join the list of successful companies who are already reaching new, like-minded customers. Most AM 560 advertisers have been here for years for one simple reason: they get results. Join our efforts to make a difference in the lives of our listeners who are passionate about supporting our great family of AM 560 advertisers. To learn more, just visit 560theanswer.com/advertise. That's 560theanswer.com/advertise.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:36, we'll talk to George Beebe about Trump's vision to turn Gaza into the Riviera of the Middle East. That's 6:36.
An all-inclusive Trump Tower. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
6:32, 26 degrees, freezing rain and sleet on the way. First U.S. flight carrying illegal immigrants has arrived at Guantanamo Bay. U.S. officials saying the C-17 plane took off Tuesday from El Paso, Texas, arriving last night at Naval Station Cuba. Arguments over pausing the president's order looking to end birthright citizenship will be heard in federal court this morning. Today's arguments come from a suit from immigrant rights advocacy groups. President Trump says Palestinians have no alternative but to leave Gaza and find somewhere else to live. U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, says the president may be doing Palestinians a favor.
It's a dangerous place to live today, and the president is saying, let's make it better for these people. Let's give them more hope. And if there are different places for them to live, let them make that choice.
The president also called on Egypt and Jordan to take in 2 million displaced Palestinians. Both nations have rejected the idea. All 67 victims in last weekend's deadly mid-air collision near Washington, D.C. have been recovered. Police are on the hunt for a shooter who killed 1 and injured at least 5 at a warehouse last night in New Albany, Ohio.
We believe we may know their location. We don't have any reason to believe that they are a general threat to society more than this was. It appears at this point to be a targeted type of attack.
New Albany, Ohio Chief of Police Greg Jones says they know where to look for the shooters. A mass shooting in Sweden being called the worst in that country's history. A gunman killed 10 yesterday at an adult education center west of Stockholm. Tensions are high among city council members over what many have labeled an anti-Semitic art piece at the Chicago Cultural Center. City Council member Deborah Silverstein opened the hearing and questioned the placement of the anti-Semitic art at the Chicago Cultural Center.
If somebody submitted a puppet of Mayor Johnson with his hands covered in blood protesting the removal of ShotSpotter, would that be displayed?
Tempers flared during the debate over the pro-Hamas terror puppet yesterday. Alderman Byron Sigcho Lopez was ushered out of the chambers when he appeared to call Alderman Bill Conway a white supremacist. The mayor met with advocates of his $17.1 billion spending plan last night in a lakeside chat.
We never compromised our value system. We negotiated the details around this budget so that there was a fiscally responsible, balanced budget.
In other news, a second man now charged in the deadly shooting of 2 CPS students in the Loop last year. James Allison was arrested Monday in Crown Point, Indiana. Police say a 16 and 17-year-old were shot and killed, leaving Innovations High School in January of 2024. Citing ballooning taxpayer costs and public safety concerns, many Illinois lawmakers are now calling for an end to the state's sanctuary policies. Governor J.B. Pritzker has vowed to resist President Trump's deportation policies, including those targeting what he calls law-abiding illegal immigrants. State Representative John Cabello this morning says the Pritzker administration is allowing the hardened of criminals to remain in Illinois.
We've got some pretty bad people here. And for this state, for this governor, to sit there and say, we're not going to help getting rid of the worst, he should resign because he's a disgrace.
Recently, Senate Republicans introduced legislation that would require local authorities to work with ICE and undo the state's Trust Act. Bulls caught a glimpse of the future in a 133-124 win over Miami last night. Rookie forward Matas Bezelas had his breakout game, a career-high 24 off the bench. College hoops, Northwestern came through in the clutch. A win over USC at Welsh Ryan, 77-75. The number 23 Illini visit Rutgers at Danny DeVito Arena later on tonight. The news service of Low T Center, if you're not feeling that Same energy anymore? Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer. Low T Center brings over a decade of experience. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
On Sunday, February 9th, in a big football game.
The real name of which we aren't legally allowed to mention.
Two teams,
which we also can't legally identify,
will face off to determine the best team in the league.
Which, once again, we don't have permission to mention.
But if you can predict the exact score of this big game, you can win $50,000 big dollars.
Actual, real dollars.
For terms and conditions and to submit your prediction today, go to 560theanswer.com/game. That's 560theanswer.com/game.
Family life is a crazy adventure filled with love and laughter, but it can also be demanding with work schedules, after-school activities, and trying to remember where you put your keys. It leaves you wondering, where does the time go? With so much going on, it can be easy to lose sight of your family's well-being. Balance of Nature fruits and veggie supplements offer an easy way to get a wide variety of whole food ingredients for your whole family. Don't let a busy schedule get in the way of your family's well-being. Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
With all the bugs and viruses going around, you want and need a healthy immune system. The stronger your immune system, the stronger your body fights and defends against that. And that. And whatever that is. So get Virago. Virago Immune Enhancement Support is a unique blend of 23 nutraceuticals. Ingredients that have been available as individual nutraceuticals, but now working in synergy to maximize their effects to the immune system. Recommended by medical physicians and other healthcare professionals in the Chicagoland area, Virago is the nutraceutical cocktail for immune support. Developed to strengthen your immune system for quick response to immune challenges, for short and long-term immunity, for antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and anti-allergy effects. It even protects your heart, kidneys, and liver, all in a unique liquid supplement for better absorption. Order online at myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. It's the go-to choice for immune enhancement. That's myvirago.com. And use coupon code PROMO to save 15%. Quality ingredients for optimum health. Trust Virago. Inspiring healthy choices.
It's time to throw out your overpriced big wireless contract. Throw it overboard. You can get an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy for $0 with a qualifying plan of just $45 a month. Get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 25 gigs of data, mobile hotspot. You get all of it. So get your new iPhone 14 or Samsung Galaxy for $0. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk, pound 250, keyword Pure Talk from Pure Talk, America's wireless company.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like discovering a refund tree has grown in your backyard.
I'm the refund tree.
Sawing off its branches.
Hey.
Feeding them through a wood chipper.
My branches! My beautiful branches!
And dancing in its refund rain. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
640 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of work.illinois.gov. Real work-life balance from a state job? Really? The Illinois EPA is hiring. Find really great careers at work.illinois.gov. Bishop Ford, earlier accident, gumming up the works inbound between the Tri-State to 154th. Wilmington, River Road shut down east and westbound due to an earlier semi-fire near Route 53. Lamont, bad accident with injuries and a search of a car into a retention pond. Archer Avenue right now all gummed up southbound just north of 135th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Cloudy and icy mix begins in the afternoon. High of 33. Freezing drizzle overnight. Untreated surfaces will turn very slippery and a low of 31. And after a cloudy start tomorrow, the sun returns, breezy and milder, high of 42. It's 26 right now. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. More paradigm shifting going on yesterday. Wow. Bibi in town and Trump announcing a momentous play, which is for the U.S. to control and ostensibly rebuild Gaza. This is Trump explaining.
The only reason the Palestinians want to go back to Gaza is they have no alternative. It's right now a demolition site. This is just a demolition site. Virtually every building is down. They're living under fallen concrete that's very dangerous and very precarious. They instead can occupy all of a beautiful area with homes and safety, and they can live out their lives in peace and harmony instead of having to go back and do it again. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years.
He went on to say that it could be the Riviera of the Middle East and so forth, hoping that Egypt and Saudi Arabia will provide land for resettlement. Of course, both Egypt and Saudi Arabia immediately rejected that suggestion. I mean, this is, very broad and, very big. A lot of detail to be determined. Gaza is going to be a U.S. territory. Is the
new Las Vegas?
What is the cost of it? Are we turning? It's just there's a lot there. And there's also other things going on too that are still pending, like America supporting Israeli sovereignty in Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, and. But all of this, if it's executed and Americans support whatever costs are associated, has the potential to maybe provide a permanent solution to the long-running Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And this is, what the mind's eye seems to be from the president. In other developments in the Middle East, I'm sure Bibi and Trump discussed in detail the real problem in the region, which is Iran. And Trump offered this response to the prospect that taking a hard line with Iran could put American officials in jeopardy, including President Trump himself, the Iranians wanting to still retaliate over the killing of Soleimani. Here was Trump's contingency plan.
Why say that you're unhappy to sign it if it's Iran and their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani?
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do, not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And Biden should have said that, but he never did. I don't know why. Lack of intelligence, perhaps. But he never said it. If that happens to a leader, or close to a leader, frankly, if you had other people involved also, you would call for total obliteration of a state that did it. That would include Iran.
Now, he's not spoiling for that, as he clarified later, talking about wanting to get a deal with Iran on its nuclear program, ostensibly to sideline that nuclear program. But nonetheless, anything happens to me, your country becomes a parking lot. It's basically what he said. George Beebe is a former director of Russia analysis at the CIA and former staff advisor to Vice President Cheney on Russia and on intelligence matters. He's currently director of grand strategy at the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft. George Beebe, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Why don't we start in reverse order? I mean, the Russia-Iran access was invoked, Russia not directly but implicitly yesterday, and Trump's posture towards Russia, what you think, towards Iran and vis-a-vis Russia, and where Bibi and Trump intersect in terms of their outlook for the region.
Well, I think President Trump is wise to be looking at the interrelationships between all of these countries. One of the things that's happened as a result of the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the way we've handled that is we have actually encouraged implicitly, and I think pretty erroneously, closer relations between Russia and China, between Russia and Iran, between Russia and North Korea. And that's not at all in our interest. That doesn't make any of these problems easier to solve. It makes our challenges greater. So I think President Trump is saying, we need to be thinking about a new relationship with Russia, ending that war in Ukraine, and as a result, not incentivizing the Russians to be cooperating with these other countries in ways that damage American interests.
Well, and so the message that he sent to Iran yesterday, prompted by Peter Doocy there, obviously you're sending a message to Iran, but that's a message to all of those other countries that you mentioned as well. Is that the right message to send?
Well, yeah, I think it is. I think all of this is an indication that President Trump is thinking about American foreign policy in fundamentally new ways. And he should be. What we've done in our foreign policy over the last 3 decades has not worked. We haven't accomplished the goals that we set out for ourselves, and we've gotten ourselves into a lot of very counterproductive wars. And Trump is saying, okay, we need to think in a fresh, new way about these things. And that includes potentially some sort of breakthrough with Iran. As well as repairing our relationship with Russia. And all of that helps us in our ability to deal with the rise of Chinese power in the world, which is a big challenge. So President Trump is really a new thinker, and that is something that we do need.
What about Trump's comments about, Gaza and taking over Gaza? Do you think that's going to torpedo the ceasefire agreement?
I don't know. And I don't know to what degree President Trump has already decided on this, that this is a set thing, or he's voicing possibilities that are changing the nature of the debate, that are causing people to think about things in fresh ways rather than continuing the stale, old, and very unsuccessful approach that we've taken so far. So he is changing the debate here quite significantly. Now, whether we end up doing the kinds of things that he discussed or not, I think that's still an open question. We have to think through a lot of this stuff. It's very complicated. You have to ask yourself, what are the unanticipated consequences that could flow from some of this? But I think changing the debate on dealing with the problems of this region is very much necessary.
Yeah, and it's sort of, because he's getting criticized, of course, from all sides. It's ethnic cleansing. Well, I mean, take a look at Gaza. It is leveled. So it's not ethnic cleansing he's interested in. He's interested in resettlement, and he's also sort of, getting heat from the more isolationist crowd. So, what about foreign entanglements? And this is a foreign entanglement. You're talking about owning Gaza, and we're rebuilding Gaza. I thought we weren't in the business of nation building. But I mean, if you look at it more broadly, I mean, it's really sort of being pragmatic rather than dogmatic and saying, sometimes if we want sort of a lasting changing of the landscape here, which in the interest of peace, you're going to have to get your hands dirty a little bit. America has to lead on this, and this may be the price that we have to pay for benefits down the road.
Yeah, well, I think that's right. For a long time, the United States has essentially said to itself, we can't solve the Arab-Israeli dispute. Not soluble, impossible. And so we're just going to try to manage this and make sure it doesn't get worse. And President Trump is saying, well, that hasn't worked so well. And we're going to have to think about this in fundamentally new ways. So we'll see. I don't know where we will wind up on this. But he has essentially said we're willing to put everything on the table and think about things we've never been willing to think about before.
Tulsi Gabbard looks like she is on stronger footing now in terms of being confirmed to be the new Director of National Intelligence. You've written about her nomination as sort of a test for the Senate and for the administration. What's your perspective on her in that role, and if she is confirmed, what it would represent?
Well, I think Tulsi is coming at this position from the perspective of someone who has experienced firsthand some of these failed wars, these forever wars, and the consequences that have flowed from them. So she's saying, hey, we need to be thinking about these things in different ways. She is not just a status quo, more of the same in her approach to intelligence and her approach to foreign policy. That's exactly why President Trump has nominated her. And the question is whether the old guard, the establishment, the ones that don't want to see changes in what the United States has been doing for 30 years, will accept that. So far, it looks like they will. Her hearing before the Senate committee went well. She came out of that with a recommendation to the broader Senate for approval. So I think the wind is in her sails right now. And it looks to me, unless we have some new information, some new developments coming out, that she probably will get confirmed.
Yeah, I would agree. George Beebe, former director of Russia analysis at the CIA, former staff advisor to Vice President Cheney on Russia and intel matters, currently director of grand strategy at the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft. George Beebe, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Carol Platt-Liebel for townhall.com. Thousands of people protesting the deportations of illegal immigrants recently blocked a major highway in Los Angeles. Almost 1 million illegal immigrants live in the LA metropolitan area, so it's reasonable to suspect that many were protesting the possibility of their own deportation. But it's hard to imagine a tactic less likely to win widespread public support for their cause. It took almost 5 hours for the highway to fully reopen. This is in a city recently traumatized by terrible wildfires that have destroyed numerous homes and displaced countless people. And virtually all the protesters were carrying not American, but Mexican flags. The entire episode encapsulates the sense of entitlement that's caused so many Americans to lose patience with open borders immigration policies. America is a land of immigrants, but the immigrants should come legally and with a sense of appreciation rather than grievance. I'm Carol Platt-Liebel.
Talked to a girlfriend yesterday. She's had chronic pain in her knee. Always gets cortisone shots, and she doesn't know if it'll last 3 months, maybe 6 months, maybe a few weeks. So I told her about QC Kinetics. I said, you have nothing to lose. Call, schedule a free consultation. They'll walk you through the process. They'll see if it's right for you and if they're right for you as well. They're not going to take your money if they know it's not going to work, because there's certain people who are in better shape than others, and they're very honest. So here's what it is. QC Kinetics, it's regenerative medicine. Treatments for arthritis pain or pain in your knees, hip, back, or elbow or shoulder due to arthritis, as I mentioned, or injuries. Folks, long-term relief. QC Kinetics regenerative treatments are sweeping the nation, and they're right here in Chicago under the guidance of Medical Director Dr. Ashley Caravelli. Thousands of patients would tell you don't wait. Joe Rogan even recently mentioned it on his podcast. He's got positive results from regenerative medicine. Here's the number to call. 312-809-5955. Tell them Amy Jacobson sent you. Again, 312-809-5955. Call now for a free consultation. 312-809-5955.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 76. I had been retired for about 10 years, and at 68, I decided to go back to work. Our company had a contest, and it was a walking, steps. I ended up, by the time in the end of the 6 weeks, I was doing like 17,000 steps a day. So after the contest, I came in third. I kept hearing about Balance of Nature, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. So I did.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Chicago.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We've talked about this story a couple times over the last couple of weeks. The death of Katie Abraham from Glenview and her friend Chloe Polson of Deerfield, killed in a hit-and-run crash in Urbana by a 29-year-old Guatemalan man in this country illegally. We're going to talk to Katie Abraham was laid to rest over the weekend. We're going to talk to her father and her aunt at 7:07, so I hope all these sanctuary state and city politicians are listening up.
Yeah, but first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Brandon Johnson not confirming whether he will testify before Congress. A second man is now charged in the killing of 2 CPS students in the Loop. Northwestern under investigation for anti-Semitic harassment and investigating a fire in Arlington Heights. The Bulls rally for a win past Miami. And WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
It's wrong and absurd. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's one reaction from Turkey to President Trump's controversial new plan for Gaza, where a ceasefire still holds with Hamas, which calls the idea a recipe for chaos.
Gaza is a hellhole right now. It was before the bombing started, frankly. And we're going to give people a chance to live in a beautiful community that's safe and secure.
The president wants the U.S. to take over and own Gaza, demolishing all the war destruction to develop it into like a Riviera for the Middle East. As for the Palestinians displaced,
Gaza's been very unlucky for them.
He wants Palestinian refugees to go to Jordan, Egypt, or other countries. Now, the president proposed it in talks with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
You are the greatest friend Israel has ever had in the White House.
Now, other world leaders oppose the plan, still calling for a Palestinian state. Now, the Trump shakeup continues at the U.S. Agency for International Development after Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency moved to shut down USAID, calling it beyond repair. The State Department's in control now, and as Republicans call for big reforms with the agency, Fox's Lucas Tomlinson reads an email that went out last night.
On Friday, February 7th, just before the stroke of midnight, all USAID direct hire personnel will be placed on administrative leave globally, with the exception of designated personnel responsible for mission-critical functions.
After the U.S. put new tariffs on Chinese imports this week, the Postal Service is no longer accepting packages shipped from China and Hong Kong. The manhunt continues near Columbus, Ohio, for a killer who went on a shooting spree at his warehouse workplace late last night. The New Albany's Mayor Sloan Spalding just said,
"We want to reassure our residents that we have multiple agencies working right now to apprehend the suspect."
One person was killed at the cosmetics plant, 5 others hospitalized. The U.S. is getting a new attorney general today after this Senate vote last night.
On this vote, the yeas are 54, the nays are 46. The nomination is confirmed.
One Senate Democrat, John Fetterman, joined Republicans confirming Pam Bondi. America's listening to 5.
26 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Slippery roads and icy glaze all on the way for central and northern Illinois. A winter weather advisory is up for the afternoon. Tensions high among city council members over what many have labeled an anti-Semitic art piece at the Chicago Cultural Center.
You gotta go. You gotta go. Sergeant at Arms.
Tempers flared during debate over a controversial pro-Hamas terror puppet yesterday when Alderman Byron Sigcho Lopez appeared to call Alderman Bill Conway a white supremacist.
Things got heated in there. We talked about it behind closed doors. He apologized and said that those remarks were not directed towards me. I have no desire to escalate. I appreciate him doing that, and I have no desire to escalate this.
Sigcho Lopez was kicked out of that meeting. Mayor Brandon Johnson continues to waffle over testifying before Congress over sanctuary cities. The Mayor's Corporation Counsel, Mary Richardson Lowry, addressed the request for documents and communications related to sanctuary city policy.
With respect to the Oversight Committee's invitation, we are in active discussions with them relative to the content of that invitation.
The Illinois Policy Institute's newest Lincoln poll shows that nearly 80% of Chicago residents have an unfavorable view of the mayor. A second man is charged in that deadly shooting of 2 CPS students in the Loop last year. James Allison was arrested Monday in Crown Point, Indiana. 16-year-old Robert Boston and 17-year-old Monterio Williams were shot and killed while leaving Innovations High School in January of 2024. Tommy Coleman was charged last week with the same shooting. A man has been charged after approximately $1 million of stolen shoes were recovered from a warehouse. Eric Bautista of Chicago has now been charged with 1 count of theft after a search warrant was executed at a warehouse in the 1500 block of Southwestern Avenue. Police recovered thousands of suspected stolen shoes, Nike, Jordans, New Balance shoes. The value, approximately $1 million. Bulls caught a glimpse of the future in a 133-124 win over Miami last night. Rookie forward Matsis Buzelis had a breakout game, finishing with a career-high 24, and the Bulls visit the Timberwolves later on tonight. Northwestern came through in the clutch with a 77-75 win over USC at Welsh Ryan. Also last night, Loyola crushed St. Bonaventure 77-53. The news is a service of Low T Center. Look for personalized treatment like you'll get with the TRT experts at Low T Center. Low T Center brings over a decade of experience. So go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment at lowtcenter.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher is excited about what he sees from his president.
I have never had so much fun coming into work as I am now these days. 1 week into the Trump administration, Trump 2.0, I can't get to work fast enough. There was some traffic today driving into work. I thought, no, don't slow me down. I got to get into work. We got to take to the airwaves. There is so much happening.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Does pain in your life impact everything you do, like walking, climbing stairs, even getting out of your car? You don't have to live like this. Hey, Amy Jacobson here with a solution. Joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back due to arthritis or an injury can be eliminated. How? Well, with the help from our good friends at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics regenerative treatments are sweeping the nation. Everyone's talking about it. And they're right here in Chicago under the guidance of medical director Dr. Ashley Caravelli. Here's how it works. QC Kinetics treatments prompt your body to heal and restore damaged joints. Joint pain doesn't get better with time. See if you're a candidate for these life-changing treatments. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation and tell them Amy Jacobson sent you. Saturday appointments available. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
With over 50 years of precision tooling, that's a lot of job shop work and custom parts. And it's why Bruscher Machining is the go-to CNC turning and machining company in Chicagoland. If you have a custom project, whether it's a single prototype or a short-run production of a few thousand pieces, give them a call today for your free custom quote. 630-876-1661. That's 630-876-1661. Or visit BruscherMachining.com. That's BRUCHER Machining.com. They also provide heat treating, balancing, plating, and surface coating, welding and fabrication, plus project management. Bruscher Machining guarantees to consistently deliver high-quality parts and solutions on time for reasonable prices. Yeah, everyone says that, but the proof is in the tooling. Stop by to meet their team of seasoned pros and tour the facility located in West Chicago. To learn more about how CNC machining can turn your tough project into an operational reality, contact Bruscher Machining today for your free custom quote. 630-876-1661.
7:09 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this update, a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over if you have medical PPO insurance. Check if you qualify at almostfreeteeth.com. Bishop Ford stop-and-go traffic inbound between the Stony Island feeder and the Dan Ryan. The Dan Ryan, 25 and climbing, 95th into the Circle. I-80 stop and go due to road work westbound between Cherry Hill Road and Chicago. And in Lamont, 135th remains shut down between Smith and Archer, all due to a major accident investigation. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Cloudy with a bit of snow, sleet, and freezing rain late this afternoon, the high 33. We do have a winter weather advisory tonight. Periods of freezing rain and freezing drizzle, low 31. Clouds and sun tomorrow, the high 42. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
26 in clouds at O'Hare. Your next news update, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Katie Abraham was a junior at Ohio University. She and her friend Chloe Polson from Deerfield, Katie's from Glenview, went to U of I a couple weekends back to visit friends. They were stopped at a stoplight, and they were struck at full force by a 29-year-old Guatemalan national in this country illegally, using an alias and apparently driving drunk. Katie died at the scene. Chloe died the next day. He tried to flee to Mexico, but thankfully U.S. Marshals were on the ball and he was arrested. And we are pleased to be joined by Joe Abraham, Katie's father, and Sandy Abraham, Katie's aunt and Joe's sister. I've been talking to Joe over the last week or so, and he wanted to come on the show to, say some things about Katie and this issue and her passing. Wanted to wait till the service was completed, which it was this weekend. So, Joe and Sandy, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Dan. Pleasure.
Thank you. Well, tell us about Katie and Chloe.
So I'll let Sandy, why don't you go ahead, and because Sandy's Katie's only aunt, and I'll tell you, those two were two peas in a pod. So Sandy, if you want to go ahead.
Well, Katie was obviously very unique and special to me, and the fact that we've lost her has ruined everyone's lives, and life without her is just not going to be the same, right? And it's not fair, and we're upset, and we want justice for Katie and for Chloe.
What was her and Chloe's relationship? Were they childhood friends?
Yes.
They played water polo together, so that's how they knew one another. But Katie, just to build on what Sandy was saying, when we say Katie was unique, Katie was one of these kids. She had such a special soul. She was just full of life and energy, and she was so witty, and she was so funny, and she was like so smart about things, and caught on to kind of everything. So when we think of Katie, it's when we say things will never be the same, it was always during family functions and things like this that when Katie showed up, you just knew the party started. Now, my dad passed away the day after Christmas, and he was a huge character in the family, and Katie was like right there with them. So within a month, we lost two just amazing people and huge characters in the family, and honestly, the dynamic, it will never be the same for any of us.
How did you get the news about the crash and Katie's death?
So the Urbana detectives who've been great called us that morning and kind of gave us a quick rundown. Like, they were out, early Sunday morning, and the five girls were in the Honda Civic, and the Guatemalan national was in a Mitsubishi Outback and just didn't stop. The girls were at a stoplight, and the Mitsubishi Outlander just didn't stop, just ran right through them. So, and then where Katie had passed on the scene, and Chloe the next day. But, yeah.
Have you been in touch with prosecutors in this case now that he is in custody?
Yeah, we have talked to the state's attorney, and it sounds like the case is really solid. And so that's the big thing for me. I mean, hats off to the marshals and the detectives and the Urbana police. They did exactly what they needed to do. I think the case is very strong, and I love the fact that I'm feeling confident, and it helps me that he's hopefully going to serve everything he's going to, get. I guess within our law, I'd like to see other things. But I think also what I'm looking for is, and I'm not sure there's much interest here, is like, who else is out there? Like, how did he sustain himself? Who helped him down to Texas? How did he, how was he able to move so quickly from Urbana down to, Milford, Texas in, within a day?
And he was on a bus, right, heading to Mexico when they picked him up?
Yeah, that was my understanding, yes.
And what was his means of support while he was in Illinois?
Yeah, I haven't. That's the thing. I guess the investigation's going on, so I don't have all these answers. I've got so many questions. And
have you heard?
Really, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard from any elected officials in Illinois about this?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Do you have any particular message for elected officials in Illinois about this?
I think for me, I'm just trying to understand what the end goal is. I know I keep hearing and I keep being told that this is good for us. You know, we're all going to be safer with this. We're all just going to be, it's going to be utopia or something, whatever, you know. But I'm just trying to understand. I don't understand the end goal. Like why? So why was Katie's? Why is this okay? So Katie has passed, right? We've lost a huge, just loved one, right? Yeah. But for what end? I guess is what I'm curious about, and I just don't know. Like what's the end goal here? Why is Katie on the altar of what? Freedom, safety? I just don't know, and that kind of bothers me a little bit.
What do you know about this monster who did this? I know he was using aliases, and do you know how he got his vehicle? And I'm only asking that because we had an Alderman Lopez on our show who said that illegals are getting free cars that are neglected at the pound.
Yeah, so this is, I guess, because of the, these are questions, Amy, that's a great question. I don't really have the answer to that. It's still an ongoing. I guess maybe after everything's said and done, I'll get more information. But, yeah, I don't really know how he got the car. I know he wasn't on the insurance. Some other person insured the car, but then he was reimbursing, and that's how he had the car. My understanding is he didn't have any documentation, no driver's license or anything like that. Ugh. And so there were things that were happening that I mean, I just don't know yet. Hopefully I will know one day. But, yeah, these are all questions I want. Like, who's helping him? How did he sustain himself? How did he get a car? How's he driving around? How does that work with the insurance? And I believe it was State Farm. And how does all that work? Like, it's okay to do this and then not that, right? You can insure for someone else, and that's totally legal. And no one's really held accountable. Because one of the things I want to do is I love that this guy was caught and he's going to see justice. But who else? Like, it can't just be him. It can't just end here. Aren't there others that need to, like, answer for this? And that's the one thing I think I've got to sort of get into, I suspect.
What was it like at the service over the weekend? I mean, she was only a couple years removed from high school, so high school friends and family and people that you know, neighbors and friends in Glenview and so forth.
Yeah, we tried to keep it a little bit more low key and not put it out there so much. But it was quite a large showing, more than what we thought. But Sandy, do you want to give your perspective on that, maybe?
Yeah, it was actually a beautiful service. But, you know, anyone and everyone, as much as we wanted it to be low key, you know, people come. I mean, This is a young person. She was just beginning her life, and it was brutally taken away from her. It's just not right. But again, back to the service. You know, everyone was there, all her friends, and like you said, neighbors and our loved ones. And we had family coming in from California, Minnesota, Ohio. You know, how could you not show up for this child, really?
Yeah. Sandy, what is justice? Oh, I'm sorry. Go on. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, that's okay. No, it's okay.
Well, what does justice look like for you?
Oh, my gosh. It's a good question. There's so many things that go through my head, but, you know, again, the U.S. Marshals, hats off. Thank you. You know, thank you, President Trump, for closing the borders so that this guy, he would have been long gone.
Yep.
And then what? So it feels good that he was caught, but really he needs to be put away. He needs to serve his time here, and then he needs to get out, and he should never be allowed back.
So,
Second time he's been back in here, back in the U.S.
Yeah, and just to be clear,
what are you going to do next time? What happens the third time? How many lives have to be lost before this person is sent away and not allowed back?
And honestly, I mean, so part of this, Dan, Amy, is for me is we are absolutely. Our parents were immigrants. Right? They came here on student visas. They were sponsored. It was kind of like the right way to do it, right? And so I don't think you shouldn't be hearing from us, because I don't want this misunderstood, but we're not for immigration. I just don't think the choice. I feel like the choice is either I'm for immigration, that means anything goes, and everything can happen, or you're not pro-immigrant, which is absolutely wrong. Just let's have it done the right way. Some common sense, some practicality to this, some like slow down a little bit. Like let's not. It just can't be a free for all. All I think we're saying is it just can't be a free for all.
Yeah,
do it the right way.
Pretty rational. I think that's where most people are at. Unfortunately, those are not the people that are in positions of authority in the state. I mean, you know, we had the Lake and Riley Act that the president just signed with respect to dealing with people in this country illegally and making sure that justice is served when somebody is wronged. What about the Katie Abraham Act in Illinois to eliminate our sanctuary state designation?
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath on that, but you know,
is that something you'd like to see?
I mean, you'd love to see things in honoring Katie in any real way. Honestly, Dan, we're not that state. I just don't see it happening. So I'm not even thinking about that. It's just, you know, right now I'm just trying to get the pieces together and keep moving forward here. But, you know, maybe after the trial, it's things we can think about if anyone cares. But I just don't feel like we're in the place or time that's going to come through here in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just, I mean, you're looking at stories. There are tens of thousands of people who are killed by drunk drivers who are here illegally, who don't even have their driver's license. So, I mean, I hope something changed. I mean, not hope, but I feel like we have to do something, and now might be the time. Well, when you're done grieving, well, you will never be done grieving. I shouldn't say that, but somebody has to do something to spare other people from going through what you're going through as a family.
Well, and I don't want to forget the Polson family too. I know they haven't chosen to be public about what happened to their daughter, but you know that Chloe Polson matters too, and we don't want to forget about her.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like we're going public because we don't want this to happen to anyone else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrific. Nobody else should have to go through this. Like, how many more have to die before something is done?
Preventable crime. You know, that's what's so frustrating. Exactly. And I feel, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but our government seems to care more about illegals than their own citizens, especially when you look at these sanctuary states and these sanctuary counties and sanctuary cities.
But yeah, and it's just, again, I feel like for what are we going to get out of this? Like,
right.
All I hear is we're safer. All I hear is that, you know, you got to be pro-immigrant, and that means anything that the state does should be fine with me. So I just don't know. Like, I can't hang my hat. I can't get it in my head. Like, this is good because of X. I don't know what that X is, and then Katie was sacrificed on that altar, and then I don't know. Maybe that would bring me some more peace. I just don't know what we're doing. I just have no idea. I don't know why she had to be in that place at that time in that situation, and I don't know why I lost Katie, and for what. I just don't know.
Yeah,
and I know we're a country of immigrants. I know all that. I get it. Well, you know, I get all that. I don't know why it has to be like this. So if someone can help me understand that might be better for me, I guess, or bring me some more peace, I guess.
It's very difficult to understand. I think a lot of people listening have the same confusion that you have. We certainly do here. It's hard to make sense of. There's no question. Just because this is, you know, more about Katie than policy. I mean, just if you have anything else that you wanted to add so that people get more of a sense of who Katie Abraham was and this story and her life being taken sticks with them.
Yeah, Katie, you know, she was such a unique person. She loved music. She had a playlist for everything, right? I mean, we would go to the grocery store in 2 minutes, and she wanted to do a playlist for that. And so she loved music. She would talk with me around more of the old days music, is how she put it, the 1900s music. We would talk about the 1970s and 80s, a little bit of the 90s. And we would, you know, sit there and just listen to some of the old music that I used to like, and then she kind of make playlists based on that. She had this when she was younger. She had this like smile. It was kind of like she would struggle with this smile, and we would talk about it. And I'd say, Katie, we look at these pictures and we say, look at that, Katie. You would like your smile was like, she would say, oh my God, I thought I was always nailing it. I'm like, no, you weren't. And then, but as she grew up, her smile was so perfect. And I'd say, but you're nailing it now. And she's like, oh, I thought I nailed it back then. And she was such a witty, fun, full of life. Gosh, I mean, she's going to be so missed. Our family dynamic, again, will never be the same, never.
No.
What was she studying at Ohio U?
Yeah, so she was finally getting it, kind of honing in on what she wanted to do. I think she wanted to get into some kind of promotional things. So I think she was going to study around marketing or communications. And again, we always knew Katie, when she figured it out, she was going to do so well. Like, she just had that kind of personality and that sort of drive when she got it figured out, and she was getting it figured out. So she knew what she was going to do, and she was going to get after it.
Yeah.
Well,
and then the other thing is the way Katie strung sentences together, her inflection, how she positioned it, her attitude. I used to get so angry with her, obviously a teenage girl, middle school, high school, that kind of thing. And we would, I'd be waiting for her to talk to her. She'd come in through the door, and I'd start, and she would just start telling me these things, and I just would start kind of laughing the way she would do it. And it was like, all right, Kate, all right, we're good. Let's just not do that again. It was like she just knew how to, just disarm me, big time. She's so great. She's so great.
Yeah. She'll always be with you. And thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And I know all of our listeners are going to keep you in our prayers.
Yeah, very sorry about Katie's passing. Joe Abraham, Katie Abraham's father, Sandy Abraham, Katie Abraham's aunt. Joe and Sandy, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too. And they joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
This is Carol Platt-Liebel for townhall.com. Thousands of people protesting the deportations of illegal immigrants recently blocked a major highway in Los Angeles. Almost 1 million illegal immigrants live in the LA metropolitan area, so it's reasonable to suspect that many were protesting the possibility of their own deportation. But it's hard to imagine a tactic less likely to win widespread public support for their cause. It took almost 5 hours for the highway to fully reopen. This is in a city recently traumatized by terrible wildfires that have destroyed numerous homes and displaced countless people. And virtually all the protesters were carrying not American, but Mexican flags. The entire episode encapsulates the sense of entitlement that's caused so many Americans to lose patience with open borders immigration policies. America is a land of immigrants, but the immigrants should come legally and with a sense of appreciation rather than grievance. I'm Carol Platt-Liebel.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 76. I had been retired for about 10 years, and at 68, I decided to go back to work. Our company had a contest, and it was a walking, steps. I ended up, by the time it's the end of the 6 weeks, I was doing like 17,000 steps a day. So after the contest, I came in third. I kept hearing about Balance of Nature, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. So I did.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hey, Carl Jackson here for Dennis Prager. While Dennis Prager is recuperating, we know you miss your daily dose of Dennis. That's why Pragertopia is giving you a special gift. Right now, Pragertopia members can hear the best 2 hours of Dennis's favorite segments from as far back as 2010. On Monday, you can hear the Happiness Hour.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what I'm about.
Tuesday is Celebrity Guest Day.
Donald Trump Jr. is in studio with me.
On Wednesday, it's the Male-Female Hour.
I really do wish there were a way to ascertain the number of marriages that this hour has helped.
Thursday, the Ultimate Issues Hour.
Not having ultimate issues clarity is like having a map, but you don't know where you're going.
And Friday is Open Lines.
Feel free to ask me anything about me, about you, about life.
So if you're missing your daily dose of Dennis, go to PragerTopia.com and hear all your favorite segments along with lectures, celebrity interviews, and his famous Torah teachings and more. Get your daily dose of Dennis at PragerTopia.com, PragerTopia.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Text from 312. This guy and lady are better people than me because I'd be out of my mind and ready for Armageddon if an illegal immigrant did this to my family. Yeah, no kidding. Very nice people.
Yeah, a lot of text messages. Dan and Amy, I've just emailed my commie rep, Delia Ramirez, to remind her of the devastation her quote-unquote compassion policies have created.
No elected officials in Illinois have reached out to the Abraham family. I don't know about the Polson family, but isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
We'll take your reactions to our conversation with Joe and Sandy Abraham at 7:37. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
We have about 20 text messages as well, but keep texting and call in when you can. 312-642-5600. But first, let's head into the newsroom before we take your calls. Here's Mike Scott.
7:32, 26 degrees. The FBI reportedly complied with the Justice Department's demand to turn over a list of workers who investigated Capitol riot cases. Multiple reports say the agency did hand over agent and personnel information to DOJ leadership late on Tuesday. The Senate confirming Pam Bondi as Attorney General, giving her control over the Department of Justice.
On this vote, the yeas are 54, the nays are 46. The nomination is confirmed.
Tuesday's vote, 54-46, with Democrat Senator John Fetterman joining Republicans. President Trump's proposal to take over the Gaza Strip getting negative reaction from Saudi Arabia, Russia, and China. The first group of criminal migrants deported from the United States was flown to Guantanamo Bay, and they're waking up behind bars at Naval Base, Cuba. A mass shooting in Sweden is being called the worst in that country's history. 10 were killed yesterday at an adult education center west of Stockholm. Police are on the hunt for a shooter who killed one and injured at least 5 at a warehouse in Ohio.
Our officers and our partners went to those addresses, checked those addresses, obtained search warrants, and the ones that we've checked so far that we've not been able to find him.
New Albany Police Chief Greg Jones says the shooting appears to be targeted, but no motive has been released. College and high school students soon will not be able to identify themselves as non-binary when applying for federal student financial aid. The Trump administration saying that FAFSA will not include the term starting in the 2025-26 cycle. Well, we've all seen the price of eggs, and if you're headed to Waffle House, it will soon cost you more. The restaurant has placed a temporary surcharge of 50 cents on every egg ordered at that establishment. Drivers could experience slippery roads today in central and northern Illinois. The National Weather Service says freezing rain is expected, snow possible in many portions of the region. Jurors are expected back for more deliberations at the bribery and racketeering trial of former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan. As we reported yesterday, Northwestern University is one of 5 schools under investigation by the Department of Education over allegations of widespread anti-Semitic harassment on campus.
We did not give in to any of the protesters' demands, and the commitments we made are consistent with our values.
President Michael Schill of Northwestern before Congress last year. The Bulls beat the Heat 133-124. College buckets, Northwestern a clutch win over USC 77-75. Tonight, the number 23 Illini visit Rutgers. The news, a service of quick delivery service, ground delivery when you need it, from safe, licensed professionals. Go to quickdelivery.com now to schedule your delivery. A check of traffic and weather on the way next. on AM 560.
Are you ready for it? The biggest game of the year is almost here. Will the reigning champs shake it off and defend their title? Or will the birds from Philly write their own love story and fly to victory? This showdown is the one you won't want to miss. Predict the exact score of the big game, and you could win $50,000 big dollars. For terms and conditions and to submit your prediction today, go to 560theanswer.com/game. That's 560theanswer.com/game.
Does pain in your life impact everything you do, like walking, climbing stairs, even getting out of your car? You don't have to live like this. Hey, Amy Jacobson here with a solution. Joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back due to arthritis or an injury can be eliminated. How? Well, with the help from our good friends at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics regenerative treatments are sweeping the nation. Everyone's talking about it. And they're right here in Chicago under the guidance of medical director Dr. Ashley Caravelli. Here's how it works. QC Kinetics treatments prompt your body to heal and restore damaged joints. Joint pain doesn't get better with time. See if you're a candidate for these life-changing treatments. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation and tell them Amy Jacobson sent you. Saturday appointments available. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
Wow. Are you buying or are you selling? As this is being written, silver is up more than 50% in just the past 8 months. And gold is the highest it's ever been. Whether you are just getting into the metals, want to roll your IRA into silver or gold, or want to take some profits off the table, Fox Valley Coins is ready, willing, and able to help. Even though Fox Valley Coins is a national dealer, they're family-owned and in your own backyard. Fox Valley Coins in Naperville almost always has the product you want in stock and pretty much always has the best pricing when you buy or sell. Buying or selling is easy. Bring your items in. We'll establish the price and pay you cash or check on the spot. Why wait to move your assets around? Did you know that Fox Valley Coins has sold over 3,000 one-ounce silver Donald Trump coins? We have several designs, but they're going fast. Fox Valley Coins on Route 59 in Naperville. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
You know, this country was founded on freedom from a country that forced us to buy overpriced tea, then tried blockading us, and then we dumped their tea into the ocean. How'd that work out? Well, it's time to throw out your overpriced big wireless contract, and you won't sacrifice service thanks to my cell phone provider, Pure Talk. Now, my cell phone company says no to inflated prices. And with a qualifying plan of just $45 a month, you can get an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy for nothing. And yes, this is for premium service. You get unlimited talk and text and 25 gigs of data and mobile hotspot at a fraction of the price of those big guys. Get your iPhone 14 or Samsung Galaxy for $0 by dialing pound 250 and saying the keyword Pure Talk, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, they're going to help you make the switch. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk, and claim your new iPhone or Galaxy with a qualifying purchase from Pure Talk, which is America's wireless company.
Eggland's Best. The only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
7:39. Let's get an update on the roads. We start in Lamont, where a accident investigation has turned into an accident investigation of a deadly accident where several were injured. 135th is shut down in Lamont between Smith and Archer after a vehicle crashed into a retention pond. Crews remain on that scene. Delays on I-65 Northwest Indiana. You've got a disabled vehicle, I-65 southbound at 101st. DuSable Lakeshore Drive slowing up. Heavy traffic, Soldier Field to Monroe. Bishop Ford, an accident on the exit ramp with a down light pole westbound at Dalton Avenue. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Clouds for the morning, an icy mix in the afternoon, a high of 33. Right now, 26. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy taking your calls in reaction to our conversation with Joe Abraham and Sandy Abraham, the father and aunt of Katie Abraham, one of the two young women killed by that Guatemalan national in this country illegally in a hit-and-run crash in Urbana a couple weekends ago. He is in custody. That's the good news.
Thank God they got him. I mean, and thank God, as I mentioned, Trump shut down the border just in time.
One of the keenest observations about the human condition ever offered was by G.K. Chesterton. I've mentioned it before, and it's appropriate here. Those who have given into unreason are ready for unkindness. And what Joe was saying about, and Sandy too, this is unfair, that I can't make sense of this. What are we doing? What is the policy? What is the end game here? Right. It's unreason. These are unreasonable policies, and they result in unkindness. So the Abraham family, very nice people. And they can't, and like so many in Illinois, they project how kind they are while supporting unreasonable policies that are unkind. They are not nice because, and these politicians, they are not nice because they smile frack you to your face doesn't make them nice. And I don't know what it takes for serious people to get serious with people who are unkind in public office and in your neighborhood and on your school board and in municipal government.
Got a text message, Dan and Amy, so sorry for their loss. My daughter's safe, but was hit by a car full of illegals. The car, no one was insured. The driver license turned out to be a vacant house. We're grateful she's okay, but the state of Illinois is allowing criminal activity with insurance, and the insurance companies are involved. This has got to stop.
Paula in Racine, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
So I went to high school with some of the Abrahams, a little bit younger than Joe, but I knew his brother and his sister, Sandy, and the father. And these are amazing people. They're joyful people, hardworking people, the children of legal immigrants who made amazing lives for themselves. Everyone they touch around them is better for it. And if their daughter and niece is even 1/10 of the human beings they are, it is such a loss for the world. And I hope people really understand that. You can, by listening, I just caught the end of it, and just by listening how he talked about her, I think you get to comprehend that. It's just, what a tragedy, what a loss.
His face lit up, like when he was recalling stories about her, he just lit up inside. You could feel that through the radio.
Thanks for the call. Thanks, Paula. Appreciate it. Terry in McHenry County.
Yes, Dan, a certain radio show on January 29th had mentioned that the Republicans stayed silent with no message, no vision coming out. And I had contacted, as I said, on the county board, so I contacted the county board chair and the sheriff and said, we need to have a presser. We need to restate that we are not a sanctuary county and that we will support federal law. And I was told that we don't want to mess with that. We're the last red collar county in the Chicago metro area. The conservatives swept the elections in November, and yet we're not going to make a public statement against this because of the FOIA request that Pritzker does. He hires an agency in Washington and just slams people with just ridiculous things thrown into their personal lives for making a public statement. But I talked to other county board members, and we're going to make a public statement that we are a sanctuary county. We are not a sanctuary county, sorry, and that we enforce the rule of law, and that we will not only find out who is feeding them, who is clothing them, who is giving them the illegal documentation, where are they getting the cars. You know, it is ridiculous. And I run a staffing company, and we do not employ them in McHenry County.
Good, Terry.
Good for you.
I'm glad you're doing that.
Sing it from the rooftops.
Thanks for the call. Yeah, and by the way, I mean, McHenry County is the only red-collar county, but barely.
Yeah, it's barely hanging on, right?
Because of exactly what Terry's just referencing. When it's time to stand up, you don't have enough people standing up.
Why are there so many cowards that live in this state?
And yet, I mean, let me give you an example, too. I mean, in these wealthy enclaves, which I'm always focused on, you know, these honky havens on the North Shore and the Western Burbs that elect people like Sean Casten and Raja Krishnamurthy and...
but his name is so funny.
Jelly Belly and all the rest of them, and all the legislators, too, all these raving lunatics in the General Assembly like Anastasia Murray and so many others. Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
Martha's Vineyard, these champagne socialists, the Chardonnay Antifa, these ghastly rich women, held a little rally resisting Trump's deportations. I pledge to resist, protect people, resist hate. We have to protect the people because they are part of the workforce of the vineyard and they're human beings. They have children in schools. They're scared, and it breaks my heart. It really does, said one of these barbarians. Of grabbing people in their homes, taking them and shipping them out to countries. It's the grabbing of people in their homes, taking them and shipping them out to countries where they haven't been in years and years, and they don't like that. No, right. These are the same people that when Ron DeSantis sent a bus up to Martha's Vineyard after about 24 hours, they said, wonderful to have you. Now get the hell out of here.
Get the frack out of here. But we can be pen pals. Remember that? I'll never forget the 24 hours we spent together. Now
Magical.
Leave.
Please stay in touch by mail.
But we're doing the same thing here. I mean, every night I watch, I'm a news nerd. Every night, Channel 5, 7, 9, they're interviewing parents who are scared they're going to get deported or their kids aren't going to go to school because they're afraid. It's like, enough.
Mm-hmm. And
they keep perpetuating this stereotype over and over and over again. It doesn't end.
The heroes in the story are the people waving Mexican flags outside Trump Tower. Really? Okay.
And don't forget the Palestinian flags, too. They're always there. Don't forget about them.
Jeremy in Logan Square.
Hello, Dan. How are you?
Good.
Amy?
Hi.
Hi. So I was just calling because I keep listening, and I voted for Trump. I grew up in a Democrat family in the suburbs of Chicago, but we used to own a business. And 9 out of 10, all the people that work for us, Latino, illegal particularly, I'm not sure if all of them were, but they were really good people. And then I lived in Logan Square for quite some time. Most of my neighbors and friends that were illegal were really good. 9 out of 10. Really, really good people. I voted for Trump. I switched completely my perspective and just being receptive to reality and common sense. Mm-hmm. And I know you guys are really heavy in common sense at this show. I just see a wave coming against. We needed the Latino vote to win with Trump, the transgender vote to win. You need all these demographics to vote for Trump to win, to save the country. And now it's like, okay, yeah, we get the message. Let's fix the problem. Let's really address stopping illegals from coming in. But 9 out of 10 that are here to look at these people. Now, I'm not saying that don't do your job. Do your job. However, the state's going to do it individually, do your job. But at the end of the day, to look at these people this way is kind of horrific to me. Because it's like I heard on another show, I forgot which one it was, the Moon, the Midnight, Art at Midnight, something like this. And they were talking about, I'm glad there's barbed wire on the fence. I just don't want people to be blind to the fact that, one, these are human beings, and two, they come from what we were just about to have. And I know you guys are smarter than that to know. We need good illegal immigrants. We need good immigrants. But to say, okay, let's fix the problem.
Dan's always said that.
Agreed.
Always.
I mean, but let's just say 9 out of 10 are good. Let's just use your statistic. Let's say that's true. I don't think it is, but let's just say it is. It may be. I don't know. I don't know what the statistic of good versus bad is. We don't know because we have no idea who's in this country. That's part of the problem, and I know you're agreeing with that. But 9 out of 10, so 10 million people came into this country illegally over the last 4 years, sort of phony. I claim asylum, and then they're released into the country. So 9 out of 10. So that's 1 million people that are bad people, according to your sort of back of the envelope statistics. I say this all the time. A small percentage of a big number can be a real big problem. And that's what we have. And so we always distinguish between people that are here well, first of all, legal versus illegal immigration and having some sense to this, which is what we've been talking about. And also that many people are here, other than coming here illegally, which is a crime, are otherwise good people, and they're contributing, and they're trying to make a life for themselves better than they had in their home country. I get it. But there has to be some semblance to how we're doing immigration, and we don't have. I mean, we're starting to have that, but we don't have that. And by the way, of these demographics, if you want to see movement on demographics toward the Republican Party and towards Trump, it's in minority communities, including Latino communities, because Latinos are not monolithic, and particularly as you move more than one generation away from being an American, I mean, they have the same common sense attitude that you have or I have. So it's a little bit more complicated than the left wants you to believe.
Some of them may have, when they voted for Trump, initially they may have got here illegally too.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Right. I understand. I mean, that's thanks for the call, Jeremy. I mean, we're trying to be pragmatic about this, but the inhumanity is coming from the open borders. As Tom Homan is wanted to say, open borders takes lives. It cannot be a free-for-all. That is not safe. It's not safe for people that are trying to come into this country illegally even. I mean, we've had people in this country illegally, gangbangers and other bad people, who have also victimized other people in this country illegally who just came here illegally and are otherwise not a public safety threat. So, I mean, there is no defense to this waving, to this sort of a beautiful lie about sanctuary state and sanctuary city. We're not going to cooperate with the feds. No one is illegal. All these refrigerator magnet bromides that are just utter nonsense. And it's not just nonsense. They're dangerous. Dangerous thinking that leads to rank unkindness. And, I mean, I'm not yelling at Jeremy, but I'm just saying we have to state this with some moral clarity, all of us, and tackle the Martha's Vineyard dilettantes and their Illinois, analogs as well. It's not just the politicians, but it includes the politicians, of course. Start there. Mike in Countryside.
Hey, regarding the justice for this, everybody keeps talking about the illegal. And, yeah, of course, justice for him, lock him up, whatever. But we got to get to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is the frickin' politicians that allowed this crime to happen. Why are they not charged with some sort of second-degree manslaughter in any of these cases? I mean, what am I missing here? Is that not allowed? Or are we afraid to, are we afraid to punch back at the bully because they might punch back at us later? Well, they've kind of crossed that line with all of the lawsuits and the J6 issues and whatnot. But I got to get back to work.
Thanks for the call. Get back to work. I don't get you in trouble. I mean, there's a sovereign immunity issue with policy decisions, but that politicians make. Although, I mean, doing something that is illegal, declaring that federal law doesn't apply to the state of Illinois, which is effectively what they're doing, but they're we're just not cooperating. There's nothing that compels law enforcement to cooperate cooperate with feds. So, it's a bit of a dance. But I mean, to the extent, like Tom Homan said, that you materially do break the law. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll give you an example. The acting U.S. Deputy Attorney General is looking at a sheriff in upstate New York because the sheriff in upstate New York, I think the Ithaca area, Tompkins County Sheriff Derek Osborne's Democrat. Despite a warrant, a defendant with no legal status and a history of violence was released into the community. Federal agents risked their safety and pursued the defendant in unsafe conditions. The U.S. Attorney's commitment to investigate these circumstances for potential prosecution is what the Deputy Attorney General said about this sheriff in Tompkins County, New York. So... you heard Tom Homan when Phil Murphy was bragging about having an illegal immigrant living above his garage. Right. They're watching. So Jelly Belly and BLM better step gingerly.
Oh, by the way, that person moved out. Or was never there, according to their spokesperson. So I don't know who's lying, Governor Murphy or his spokesperson. But, I mean, they think that they weren't going to... I mean, they were poking the bear.
Greg in Schaumburg.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. As I listened to the Abrahams, my heart went out to them based on this personal story. And as I share this with you, I want everybody to try to remember their name, and I personally instantly put them on my e-journal for prayer every morning. Here's why. You could sense in their voice that there is a strength and the ultimate justice that will result, but also the ability to deal with the day-to-day. And it's kind of coinciding with what you're talking about, Dan, how people can get crushed within the context of societal rules and things, but they're still crushed. In 1970, around 6 o'clock on a Saturday night, my brother, who was second in the family, I'm the oldest, was walking along a two-lane highway, and he got hit by a drunk driver. That was the 12th person that guy killed. He went to prison for my brother. He got out, and he killed again before he died. Yeah, he died. My brother's case was one of the cases that happened in that time frame that really sparked MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. So the summation of the call is the strength that the Abrams had, just as from the context of my life, was spellbindingly brave, and may they be able to do life where they always know that there's the ultimate justice, and it doesn't allow their life to be ruined, especially as it relates to the rest of their family. Thanks.
Thanks for the call, Greg. Ralph and Rantoul.
Yeah, good morning. Up front, bottom line up front, I have no mercy for illegals. I was a U.S. passport holder living abroad as an expat. I had to show my passport every single time I came home to the U.K. with the stamp inside proving that I had a right to be there. And all the other countries that I traveled to demanded my passport, and if there were not travel agreements with the states, also had visas affixed inside. I also ran a company here in the States on a turnaround basis that had 3 plants. I suspected that all of the employees through the temp agency were illegal. They were. I got rid of all of them. I said to the temp agency, stop sending us illegals. They said, we can't do that. It's against the law to ask. I'll save for another phone call some other time how we did that. I said, that's nonsense. If you don't change and get us actual citizens that you verify, I'm firing you. I'm getting rid of you. We had about 400 illegals working in the factories. It was okay. I mean, I was doing a turnaround for the owners of the company. They were quite okay with having a bunch of illegals working. I told them, I said, I won't run your stinking company knowing that there's a bunch of illegals employed by the temp agency. I'm getting rid of them. We did. Productivity suffered for a little bit, but it came right back. And every single person in there had their I-9 verified. Thank you very much. It's not hard to do. You know what you have to do? You have to want to do it. You have to say, I will not employ illegals.
Thanks for the call, Ralph. All right, coming up at 8:08, we will turn our attention to something lighter. It's been a little heavy. And something lighter is ridiculing Jasmine Crockett, which is easy to do. So we'll do it at 8:08.
But first, let's stop by that newsroom and say good morning once again to Mike Scott.
Alderman Sigcho Lopez kicked out of a meeting. We'll tell you why. Brandon Johnson not confirming whether he will testify before Congress and investigating a fire in Arlington Heights. Bulls rally past the Heat in the fourth quarter. Northwestern beats USC at the buzzer, and the Illini visit Rutgers. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Searching for a gunman who shot up his workplace. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
This pattern is too common in our country, and we must do better.
Sloan Spalding is the mayor of New Albany, Ohio, outside Columbus, where a gunman opened fire at a cosmetics plant late last night, killing one coworker, wounding 5 others. Police Chief Greg Jones says
our state partners and federal authorities immediately began to try to track the suspect down. We are doing so as we speak.
A police officer is being mourned in North Las Vegas, Nevada, killed when he confronted an armed man who's also dead, hit by return fire. Reaction keeps coming in to President Trump's controversial plan to rebuild Gaza, where a ceasefire still holds. Majed al-Ansari, an An advisor to Qatar's prime minister just told Fox.
No one player around the world can do it alone. This has to be an international effort led by countries like the United States in order for us to have a sustainable peace in the region.
Here's the president's plan.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site.
Wanting to demolish the war destruction and develop Gaza into like a Riviera in the Middle East and send Palestinians displaced to Egypt, Jordan, and other countries. Hamas calls it a recipe for chaos. President Trump's planning a new transgender executive order today that aims to prevent athletes born male from competing in girls' or women's sports. The day after a federal judge blocked a Trump order to move transgender female inmates out of women's prisons. The president also readying an executive order to abolish the Department of Education.
So we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world, and we're ranked at the bottom of the list. We're ranked very badly. And what I want to do is let the states run schools.
Now, Congress would have to sign off on getting rid of the education department. Trump critics warn it would gut some programs in schools, hurting students and families. A change at the U.S. Postal Service, which now says it will accept packages shipped from China and Hong Kong, hours after saying it wouldn't, following new U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports. America's listening to Fox News.
It's 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Watch out for the afternoon drive. Slippery roads are expected in central and northern Illinois. A winter weather advisory is up. Rain, freezing rain, and snow is on the way. Tensions high among city council members over what many have labeled an anti-Semitic art piece at the Chicago Cultural Center. City Council member Deborah Silverstein opened a hearing at City Hall yesterday questioning the placement of the anti-Semitic art at the Chicago Cultural Center.
A puppet of Mayor Johnson with his hands covered in blood protesting the removal of ShotSpotter. Would that be displayed?
Tempers flared during debate over the controversial pro-Hamas terrorist puppet. One alderman, Byron Sigcho Lopez, was kicked out of that meeting. Mayor Brandon Johnson met with advocates of his spending plan last night in a lakeside chat. Johnson also took questions from reporters on reforms in Washington by President Donald Trump impacting the Department of Education.
We have to take all of his threats seriously. It's incredibly problematic, quite frankly abhorrent, that this president would move to end opportunities for bilingual education, special education, transportation within our public school system. So these threats are very real.
As expected, the progressive mayor's opinion is that reforms will harm CPS. Meantime, the mayor continues to waffle over testifying before Congress over sanctuary cities before the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. Bulls beat the Heat. College hoops, Northwestern, a clutch win over USC, and Notre Dame lost to Florida State. The news service, A Balance of Nature, fruits and veggies in a capsule. Order online at balanceofnature.com. Coupon code Chicago to save 35% as a preferred customer. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. And now, the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Moana 2's strong box office and streaming are helping Walt Disney. Its earnings topped expectations, and its streaming business made a profit. It lost money a year ago. Disney Plus raised prices, but it lost fewer subscribers than expected. Its experiences unit, which includes theme parks and cruises, was impacted by Hurricanes Milton and Helene. Walt Disney World was closed for a day, and it impacted one cruise. Disney's standing by its outlook for the year, shares up 2.5%. Novo Nordisk says sales of its weight loss medication Wegovy more than doubled in the recent quarter. The stock's up more than 3%. Uber is still seeing increasing demand for its rides and Uber Eats delivery service, though Uber shares are lower. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
On March 4th, President Trump will make his first address to a joint session of Congress of his new presidency.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
And AM 560 The Answer is throwing a watch party. And you're invited to join us for dinner at the Meridian Banquets and Conference Center in Rolling Meadows. Enjoy dinner before the speech and then watch the speech with AM 560's Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, and Sean Thompson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/watch. That's 560theanswer.com/watch.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 76. I had been retired for about 10 years, and at 68, I decided to go back to work. Our company had a contest, and it was a walking, steps. I ended up, by the time in the end of the 6 weeks, I was doing like 17,000 steps a day. So after the contest, I came in third. I kept hearing about Balance of Nature, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. So I did.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
If you have high blood pressure, you have the #1 risk factor for mortality.
Don't be a walking time bomb. Make this change and watch your blood pressure drop.
Order a 120 Life today.
Yes, 120 Life is an amazing blend of superfood juices that can actually help lower your blood pressure.
It's been endorsed by thousands of health professionals and doesn't have the side effects of medication.
It's up to you to control your blood pressure, not Big Pharma.
Seriously, 120 Life could be the natural game changer in your life. Try it yourself risk-free with a 2-week trial pack. You've got nothing to lose but your high blood pressure.
Go to 120life.com and use promo code 560 to save 15% and get free shipping.
120 Life is so sure it can noticeably lower your blood pressure in just 2 weeks, they'll give your money back if you're not satisfied.
Order the 8-ounce drink or powdered mix. From pomegranates to cranberries, it's the delicious way to lower your blood pressure. It really works.
Go to 120life.com now. Use coupon code 560 to save 15% and get free shipping.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
It's 8:08. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We'll start in Lamont. 135th Street between Smith and Archer remains shut down. Crews are on the scene of a much earlier fatal accident that injured 3 others. Delays on the Tri-State. Accident, 2 right lanes blocked involving a semi. It's on the southbound side of 294 between 31st and the Stevenson. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A winter weather advisory in effect this evening. Clouds and some snow, sleet, and freezing rain today, the high 33. Periods of freezing rain and freezing drizzle late tonight, low 31. Clouds and sun tomorrow, the high 42. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Clouds and 26 right now. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. DEI may be on the way out at the federal level, federal government, thanks to President Trump. But culturally, it's going to be a pitch battle, as I've been saying for many moons. Amy, are you going to Canoeacopia again this year, by any chance?
Yeah, no, I have to check my schedule. What's the date of it again?
It's next month. I don't have the exact dates in front of me, but you want to look it up because it's right around the corner. Of course, Canoeacopia is the world's largest paddle sports expo, and it's just located up there in Madison, Wisconsin. Oh, Madison, Wisconsin. There's a tell. You know where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
One of the features at Canoeacopia this year is a seminar entitled Paddling While White.
White?
Yes.
Okay.
Paddling While White, how we as white people can use our power and privilege to help create equity in the outdoors. Let me give you a little bit more from the syllabus here so that you can decide if you want to attend the seminar, if you are intending to go to Canoeacopia. We know that racism is a problem that white people need to address. We know that we as white people need to talk with each other about racism. We know racism exists in the outdoors. We do. And in the sport and community of paddling that we love so much. I didn't know paddling was a repository of systemic racism. I'm not much of a paddler. I'm not really into paddling sports, although I probably should learn to paddle for the purposes of fly fishing, but I haven't. So if anybody is into paddling sports or going to the expo, if you could help me understand exactly how the systemic racism in the paddling community manifests itself, I'd appreciate it. What does it look like in real life to take steps to make our community and spaces where we recreate truly welcoming and comfortable for black and brown people? We know not a single one of us can, quote unquote, fix the problem ourselves or create the perfect space alone. Are there practical steps we can take that have real effect, that are small enough that one person can do them? Are there things we can do together? How can we use our privilege to make the paddling world more comfortable and welcoming for people of color? And so they're going to explore that.
Okay.
Honkies getting together to talk about racism generally and specifically in paddling sports.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. You can also text us on our text line. I am going to be taking up kayaking.
Are you?
Yeah, I got a kayak for a Christmas gift, but without a paddle or a life jacket.
Did it come with a white hood, you white supremacist?
Because my cousin does it, and she always brags about it. She's got a kayak that folds into it looks like a briefcase, and she can take it with her, on a plane and paddle.
Well, before you navigate the rivers and streams, you may want to make sure you're doing so in a way that's equitable. So again, Canoeacopia sounds like a perfect fit for you. They're not going to sugarcoat anything they say.
Oh, they're not.
But they're also not going to blame. Well, if racism is a problem that white people need to address because of power and privilege, how do you not blame white people for their power and privilege? I don't know. It doesn't, really, match up to me. But I'm not, a member of the paddling community.
But you could be.
I could be.
Especially if you go to the world's largest paddle sport expo.
Well, if I can confront my power and privilege and figure out how to make canoeing more equitable to BIPOCs, I suppose. By the way, I love the same people that talk about sort of dehumanizing groups of people refer to people who are of different races as BIPOCs. That's not dehumanizing. I digress. Which brings me to Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett has much to say on this topic, not necessarily specific to paddling, but certainly racism. I mean, you've got white supremacists in the White House, don't you know? Jasmine Crockett, she's a Marxist from Dallas. You may also know her as bleach, blonde, bad-built, butch, beach body Spice of the Socialist Spice Girls. Wow. She's, I'm sure if she was asked, she'd be aghast at the systemic racism in paddling sports. But in addition to that, she's just generally tired about mediocre honkies like me and my tears over DEI.
That's what's happening right now. I am tired of the white tears. Listen, if you are competent, you are not concerned. When I walk into Congress every single day, you know why I don't feel a way and why you can't make me doubt who I am? Is because I know that I had to work 10 times as hard as they did just to get into the seat. When you look and you compare me to Marjorie Taylor Greene or me to Lauren Boebert, there is no comparison. And that is the life that we have always lived. So the only people that are crying are the mediocre white boys that have been beaten out by people that historically have had to work so much harder. This is why they don't want us to have education.
All right, mediocre honky men, would you like to apologize to Jasmine Crockett? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer and text line. Yeah, they don't want us to have an education. Who's in charge of the government school system in America?
The government?
Mediocre honky conservatives like me? The left, teachers' unions, the base of her sentimental barbarian party. I mean, the test scores that we talked about a bit yesterday, both nationally and Illinois, is that because conservatives are running roughshod over government K-12 education in Illinois? How about academia, dominated by mediocre white honkies, white male honkies, conservatives, because that's who she's talking about? I don't know. By the way, Jasmine Crockett, I think she's like 35 or 40. She's had to work 10 times harder than mediocre honky dudes like me to get a law degree, to be elected to Congress. How's that? How do you measure it, first of all?
What is
and, I mean, she's 35 or 40 years old. She's somewhat removed from de jure segregation and chattel slavery and so forth. I know it's the legacies of those things that made it harder for Jasmine Crockett to ascend to Congress than for other people. That's what we're to believe. And she had to work 10 times harder, she says, but yet she still doesn't really have a command of basic facts about what is happening in America, particularly as it pertains to public safety, as she so demonstrated.
I mean, this is very simple. We right now have a white supremacist that is sitting in the White House. He is backed up by other white supremacists. And if you really want to know who the criminals are in this country, you can Google it. You don't have to trust me. But the people that commit 80% of the most violent crimes in this country are white supremacists. Yet for whatever reason, they sit and they serve at the pleasure of the president. They are the ones that were there on January 6th, tearing our democracy down physically. And now we have them tearing us down right here from within.
80% of the people who commit the most violent crimes in America are white supremacists.
Never heard that before, because I don't believe that to be true.
Well, they must all be like Clayton Bigsby, the world's only black white supremacist. You remember from Chappelle's show? Because, I mean, just go to, I mean, I didn't need to Google it, but you can Google it. Take Jasmine Crockett's advice, and you go to FBI Uniform Crime Reports, and you look at people who have committed murder by racial category. And you'll find 60% of the murders committed in this country, generally speaking, are committed by black people, mostly black men. So there's that.
But don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
Yeah, this the white supremacist boogeyman. It's white supremacist president and white supremacist in the Oval Office and the executive branch backing them up, and Congress. Everything is white supremacy. Everything is systemic racism. And Jasmine Crockett and her fellow identitarians are aggrieved parties.
Well, it's even happening here at the state level. Yesterday, during a press conference, Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton talked about hate has no home here in Illinois. What?
Because we, your leaders, made a promise to stand up for each and every one of you, whether you agree with us or not. If you take nothing else away from today, take this. Donald Trump's administration has declared that their values are rooted in hate and the whims of a small few. But Illinois' values are rooted in compassion as we work to uplift every community and every person without discrimination. There is no hate in Illinois' heart. I cannot say the same for the White Houses. Elections have consequences, and they're playing out right before your very eyes.
So pedestrian, right? Hate has no home in our heart here in Illinois, where we call everybody who disagrees with us a white supremacist, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not getting it, and that's fine, because I don't want them to get it. I want them to continue to double and triple and quadruple down on this cultural Marxism that they're so fond of. Rui Teixeira, or the liberal patriot academic, talking about the DNC election this weekend, which we talked a little bit about on Monday, and the elevation of David Hogg to be the vice chairman of the DNC. So just like everything that goes badly for the left is because they've been victimized by white supremacists and systemic racism and hate. So David Hogg's take on why the Democrats did so badly among Gen Z voters as compared to previous elections. David Hogg, quote, "We had to grow up worrying about dying in a school shooting today or dying of climate change tomorrow, and then being crushed by student debt and the housing crisis in between. And I think the issue of Gaza in particular was emblematic of the fact that people felt like we were not listening to them, that we didn't care." Rui Teixeira describing this, and Kamala Harris lost because of racism and misogyny. Everybody agree. Everybody raises their hand. Rui Teixeira said of the DNC, it seemed like outtakes from a humanities seminar. And that's what it is. That's what it is. But the good news is that the people who are very worried about systemic racism in paddle sports do not represent a majority.
Oh.
And the more that they dig in on this, the more they marginalize themselves, so long as we continue to properly expose them and present the contrast. Corey and Woodlawn, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, thanks for taking the call, Dan. Good morning, Amy. One of my biggest problems, Dan, is that the Democrats have kept and held these major cities across the United States of America for decades, half of a century, and in some cases like Chicago for a century. They really believe this nonsense works. That's why they don't want to give up on it. But if you look at these communities, they are dying. Let's sell real estate on the side. These neighborhoods are dying. They're falling down. They're dilapidated. When these property owners have to shell out more money in these lavish taxes, they can't make capital improvements on their homes. Bricks are falling down, limestone laying on the side of these properties, and the government just doesn't care. He doesn't get it. Milton Friedman always says about government, governments never learn. Only people have the capacity to learn. And we've got to bring decent people back to government.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Corey. There's some movement, though, and they're scared. And this is all they know how to do. This is, they've been brainwashed for a long time. And some are, again, the ideologues that serve as the whatever constitutes a thought leader on the left. And others are just apparatchiks like Jasmine Crockett. Frank in Board of Trade, at the Board of Trade.
Yeah, of course, Ms. Crockett had to work 10 times harder. She started out with 1/10 the mental capacity.
Thanks for the call, Frank. Well, don't tell that to AOC. AOC says, dumb people, these mediocre white boys.
Who's number one on her list?
Yeah, the dumbest billionaire that she's ever come across.
This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen or witnessed.
Right. You get what we're dealing with here. This is the same AOC that you may recall, Instant Classic, when she, again, moved into her new pad after being elected to Congress. She was frightened, mystified, afraid of kitchen appliances.
Okay, everyone, I need your help because I just moved into this apartment a few months ago and I flipped this switch and it made that noise and it scared
Come on, she worked at a
the
bar.
daylights out of me. I am told this is a garbage disposal.
I am told. Is that what it is?
She has it on good authority.
Is she married yet? Because I think she's pregnant. She looked pregnant. Which is, I mean, she's glowing like she's with child.
What? I doubt that. What is the point of having kids when the Earth is going to burn up in, I think we're on a 5-year now. I think by 2030. So we're on a 5-year clock. There's no point in having kids.
All right.
AFC's too busy saving the planet. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My debt problem started probably about 2016. I needed my life to change financially. I called Trinity, and I ended up joining based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. And now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
Fellas, Dan Proft here. Let's talk about getting back to your best. If you lack energy, muscle mass, feel moody, or have low libido, it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer, but guys aren't all the same, so don't settle for a standard dosage TRT program. I learned about the personalized treatment at Low T Center and the results you can expect with customized TRT. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 referral credit when you refer a new patient. So go to lowtcenter.com and book an appointment. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
If you're getting divorced, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Marcy, 38, homemaker, no income, with 3 kids under 10, recently filed for divorce. Marcy's soon-to-be ex needed the equity out of their marital home to purchase a new home, so Marcy called Team Hochberg after being told by other lenders she couldn't refinance until the divorce was final. Wrong. I helped Marcy refinance with her parents co-signing because she didn't have a job and wasn't receiving child or spousal support. Let's review. Marcy needed to refinance her soon-to-be ex off the mortgage and give him half the home's equity to buy a home, and was told it couldn't be done. And I helped Marcy refinance. If you're getting divorced and want mortgage advice from a lender who can empathize with your situation, give us a call now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, and MLS 112-4061.
MyPillow is excited to announce that they're having the first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 30% on their brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one Mike has worn every day for 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get the 2025 6-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. The initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And the best-selling standard MyPillow, just $14.98. To take advantage of the first ever mega sale, go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship has sailed because right now every order ships absolutely free. MyPillow.com, promo code LIBERTY.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484.
AM 560, The Answer.
You know, 20,000 people have taken those federal buyouts that were offered. So far.
Good start.
Yeah. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
What impact will RFK Jr. and HHS have on America's pharmaceutical industry? We'll start there with healthcare policy expert Sally Pipes at 8:38.
But before we go there, let's jump into that newsroom one more time. Here's Mike Scott.
8:32. We have cloudy skies this morning and arguments over pausing President Trump's order looking to end birthright citizenship will be heard in federal court this morning. President Trump says Palestinians have no alternative but to leave Gaza and find somewhere else to live. Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met in the Oval Office on Tuesday. Netanyahu praised the idea, calling it out of the box. The move was criticized by Saudi Arabia. 67 victims in last week's deadly mid-air collision near Washington, D.C., and now all of them have been recovered. The cockpit and tail from the regional jet were recovered earlier yesterday. Police are on the hunt for the shooter who killed one and injured at least 5 at a warehouse Tuesday night in New Albany, Ohio. Police Chief Greg Jones.
We believe we may know their location. We don't have any reason to believe that they are a general threat to society more than this was. It appears at this point to be a targeted type of attack.
And a mass shooting in Sweden is being called the worst in that country's history. A gunman killed 10 yesterday at an adult education center west of Stockholm. Drivers here in central and northern Illinois could experience very slippery conditions as we get set to be hit with rain, freezing rain, and snow across the region. Mayor Brandon Johnson continues to waffle over testifying before Congress over sanctuary cities. The Mayor's Corporation Counsel, Mary Richardson Lowry, addressed the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee's request for documents and communications, all related to the city's sanctuary policies.
With respect to the Oversight Committee's invitation, we are in active discussions with them relative to the content of that invitation.
The Illinois Policy Institute's latest Lincoln poll shows nearly 80% of Chicago residents have an unfavorable view of the mayor. United Airlines hoping to expand its dominance at O'Hare Chicago-based carrier has filed a request with the city to take over 6 additional gates. The Bulls beat the Heat 133-124 last night. College hoops, Northwestern a clutch win over USC, while Notre Dame lost to Florida State. The Illini take on Rutgers tonight. Last night, Loyola crushed St. Bonaventure 77-53. The news, a service of Balance of Nature, fruits and veggies in a capsule. Save 35% off your first preferred order with promo code Chicago. Hurry, offer ends soon. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk sees a president with a backbone.
If Colombia was willing to risk their entire economy over a couple dozen migrants, that shows you how dangerous these people actually are. Gustavo Petro, the socialist who runs Colombia, is upset that he now has to take care of his own people. Guess what? Playtime is over.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Hugh Hewitt at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Have you seen what's been happening in the stock market lately? The market has had some rough days. And if you think those numbers don't mean anything to you and your retirement plan, think again. Can you afford to lose a big chunk of your retirement savings in a single day at this stage of your life? If you want to make sure you aren't taking on more risk than you're comfortable with, call the team at Scott Tucker Solutions now. 847-474-3888 or go to 560retirement.com. Make sure you're prepared for whatever happens in the market, and if you already have a retirement plan, let's take a look to make sure you're properly diversified. Call Scott Tucker Solutions today to help make sure more bad days in the market don't disrupt your retirement plans. 847-474-3888 or go to 560retirement.com. That's 847-474-3888 or go to 560retirement.com. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
So how's the separation going? Are you guys able to work things out?
No. I think we're headed for divorce.
That sucks. Going to be an expensive legal battle?
Well, no, that's one thing we agree on, actually. Arbitration.
Arbitration? Like mediation?
Sort of, but better. We'll have a firm decision.
Oh, that's easier. Who's your arbitrator?
Bert Hochberg.
That attorney at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck?
Yeah, senior partner. Comes highly recommended.
Are you facing divorce or a family law issue? Burton S. Hochberg offers arbitration services, a dispute resolution process that will save you time, money, and the complexity of litigation. Let Burton hear and resolve your claims with choices that best suit you and yours. To discuss, call Bert directly. Or even better, have your attorney call Bert at 773-255-6150. That's 773-255-6150. Again, 773-255-6150.
No one knows arbitration like Bert Hochberg. Why go through a difficult divorce? Call Bert at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck, Chicago's preeminent family law firm since 1981.
My name is Dr. Joe Mealy. I've been a dentist for 56 years, and I'm a certified nutritional consultant. I started taking Balance of Nature 15 years ago. I think most people think when they eat fruits and vegetables, this is their idea of fruits and vegetables. I had an apple today. I had a pear today. I had a banana. That's their fruits and vegetables. They don't understand that each one of those fruits and vegetables has different nutrients than the others. Balance of Nature has made a significant difference in my life, in my wife's life. I feel we're on this earth to help each other. And if other people can benefit from my experience, I think that would be one of the best ways I could justify still being here at 81.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code Chicago.
8:39, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this update is service of almostfreeteeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over if you have medical PPO insurance. Find out how you could save 90% off on average to get your smile back. Check if you qualify, almostfreeteeth.com. Kennedy inbound 1 hour, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. 1 hour in on the Ike as you travel from 390 to the old post office. 45 On the Stevenson from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. 35 minutes on the inbound Dan Ryan. 95th into the Circle. You'll hit the brakes in the locals at 47th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Cloudy with an icy mix in the afternoon, a high of 33. Ice, freezing rain and snow overnight, a low of 31. It's cloudy and 26 right now. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
All right, we have 2 slots left for our business benefactor to help Food for the Poor, those less fortunate around the world who need food and clean water. We the People of McHenry County, Mars Medical Equipment, HealthQuest, Twin Supplies, LTD, West Point Financial Group, NJC Machine. These are some of the cool companies who have decided to help those less fortunate and advance their own company by advertising here on the station. What it is a one-time donation, $2,500. I know you've heard us talk about it. Money goes to feed 50 kids for an entire year, provide clean water, but also as a way of saying thank you, we give you 40 one-minute commercials, folks. It is the best deal in all of Chicagoland radio. The person to call is Anjanette Natowski. Her number is 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951, or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. And again, Dan, we have just 2 slots left.
All right. Among those who turned out to light their hair on fire yesterday over the reimagining of USAID that's going on in the Trump administration, to rail against Elon Musk as a Nazi, as Ayanna Pressley did, was a guy from California, Congresswoman named Dave Min. This is instructive because it's very much in keeping with the new Marxist Party's disposition to criminalize policy disagreements. Thankfully, they don't have the same infrastructure they did in the last 4 years to do just that, but the attitude hasn't changed.
Why did Elon Musk want to take control of the payment system? That's the $64 trillion question. And we know why, because he made clear he wants to cut $2 trillion from our budget. Now, if you look at our budget, there's not $2 trillion to cut unless you massively cut Social Security and Medicare, and that is what he's after. And now he has the ability to shut off your Social Security, Medicare, any payments he wants with the flip of a switch. Obviously, he has control of our information as well. He has broken the law time and time again. This cannot stand. He must be held accountable. He must be made to pay. We must enforce the law.
Yay. Right. And then the chance lock him up started, of course. You can throw Medicaid in there as well, the big entitlement programs that are sacrosanct to the D.C. ruling class. For more on healthcare policy specifically, since he invoked Medicare, and he certainly would include Medicaid, and they do, please be joined by Sally Pipes. She's the president and CEO and Thomas W. Smith Fellow in Healthcare Policy at the Pacific Research Institute. She has a new book out, The World's Medicine Chest, How America Achieved Pharmaceutical Supremacy and How to Keep It. Sally Pipes, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
Good morning. Good morning. You can tackle the Medicare piece too, but Medicaid is a specific interest to me because combined federal and state program. And, for example, in Illinois, the Medicaid rolls have ballooned to where we're approaching 1 in 3 Illinois residents on Medicaid, a program that was designed to provide health care of last resort to pregnant women and indigent individuals and so forth. But it's just during COVID and generally speaking, varying state by state to some extent, it's just been expanded beyond all recognition and financeability.
Well, absolutely. And I mean, because of IRA and the Biden administration, COVID, particularly under COVID, 80 million Americans are now on Medicaid. A lot of those people, should not be on Medicaid, but they don't take a job or they don't take a job with a salary increase because they don't want to lose their Medicaid coverage. And as you've probably read many times, there is so much fraud in the Medicaid system. Mm-hmm. And now the federal government, since COVID, is paying 90% of the cost. And so President Trump needs to make changes to Medicaid, and in particular to bring in back the whole idea of people that are not, chronically ill or indigent or whatever, or pregnant women. We need to get back to the idea of these people getting them back to work, cut the rolls, the Medicaid rolls, and to leave the program for those people who actually are low income and actually need it. It's completely out of control, heading towards, costing over $800 million a year.
Well, and this is billion a year, right? And this is, when we look at the $1.8 trillion deficit just last fiscal year, you're talking about these entitlement programs that are unsustainable in their current form. And of course, you have politicians digging in, as you heard, but this is the opportunity to expose and educate the American people a little bit about this program. Here's what it was intended to do. Here's where we're at now. All we're saying is let's get back to where we used to be, the original mission of the program.
Right, and the federal government was paying up to 75%, and the states between 50 and 75, and the states were paying the rest. But now the states are off the hook, and it's hugely out of control, as we just talked about.
And that doesn't even include all the people that are getting health care under Medicaid who are in this country illegally.
Well, exactly, and particularly if you live in a state like California, it doesn't matter whether you're legal or illegal. You are entitled to coverage in California by the covered California and the state government, which is absolutely ridiculous. Is it any wonder why so many illegals migrate to California? Because they get free health care coverage, and the weather normally is pretty good.
Yes, and it's the same story, not the weather part, but the same story in Illinois. I wanted to get your take on RFK Jr. as the prospective HHS secretary, particularly in relation to your book about big pharma in this country. The concerns you have, if any, about RFK Jr. and the opportunities you see with him.
Right. Well, a week ago, I thought that perhaps he was not going to be confirmed. You saw newspapers, the editorial page of the New York Post, the Wall Street Journal, very much against him, a lot of doctors' groups against him. I didn't think he would be confirmed, but just yesterday, Senator Bill Cassidy, who is a medical doctor, decided he agrees with, that he has commitments from RFK Jr. on the whole vaccine program. So I'm skeptical. I think the whole idea of Make America Healthy Again is a good idea, but what he's done in the past, and I think what is his real raison d'etre for being, is that he thinks vaccines are bad, and he would like to have them, eliminated. But look at what would young people do without the polio vaccine? I was fortunate as a young person to get the polio vaccine, smallpox. We eradicated those illnesses. With RFK Jr., if he got his way, is what he really believes, this would be a huge setback for not only people in America, but all over the world, because vaccines have been such a great rescuer for so many. And so he says, well, he had his own children vaccinated. So how is it that he's, such an anti-vaxxer? And I don't believe government should mandate that people, get vaccines, but it's great that the drug industry has them available. And if you want them, you can get them. In California, whooping cough, which was eradicated years ago, so many mothers watching television, RFK Jr. think, oh my gosh, I can't get my child vaccinated for these things. They'll become autistic or whatever. And whooping cough is on the rise. That disease was eliminated. But now, so I don't know, but it looks today like this, because Senator Cassidy is up for re-election this year in the Senate, that he sort of caved in. So I expect that we will see the confirmation of RFK Jr. I'm not excited, but we'll have to wait and see. There's some very good people that are going to be, I hope, confirmed. Marty Makary for the FDA, Jay Bhattacharya for the NIH.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dave Weldon at CDC. I mean, that's why I'm a little bit less concerned, is because the people that are around him in those public health agencies, too, that have a much different perspective than his historical one.
Right, and Jim O'Neill is up to be the deputy secretary, and he has done very good work over the years. He worked in the Bush administration on healthcare. He knows the industry very well, and so one would hope that he would have some sway over bad decisions that RFK Jr. might want to introduce, and particularly in the vaccine space.
Well, what about the industry in general? I mean, pharma, it did not exactly cover itself in glory during COVID, and so there's a lot of understandable antagonism in the direction of companies like Pfizer for how COVID proceeded, and so I mean, what kinds of approach or new approaches to the industry should be taken?
Right. Well, I mean, of course, America, between Pfizer and Moderna companies, I mean, the vaccine came to our country very, very early and was able to export to other countries that did not have a vaccine. So in a way, I mean, I think, we have to be thankful for the pharmaceutical industry and the Pfizers, Modernas, the Novo Nordisk of the world, because, today, 80% of R&D in the pharmaceutical industry is done in America, and only 16% in countries like Europe, which have price controls. So we want to keep the price controls away, and I'm hoping that President Trump will urge Congress to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act and the price controls on Medicare drugs under Parts D and B, which, of course, the first price controls don't go into effect until January 1st, 2026. But if you look at the whole issue, we need to tie the reimbursement rates to the effectiveness of the therapy. So if a therapy is not working, then, there shouldn't be reimbursement for it. We need to require manufacturers to refund a share of the price of disappointing therapies, and perhaps spread the pain out over time so that people, that don't have coverage. But, most people today have coverage either through the government or through their employer-based insurance, which 180 million Americans do. So, when you see Bernie Sanders get up on the stage and say, the list price of this drug is, $600 a month for, say, Eliquis, but very, very few people pay the list price. Most people pay the net price, which is very reasonable because after rebates and discounts, the price comes way down. Plus, the real problem is to reform the pharmaceutical benefit managers, the middlemen between the insurer and the drug companies who negotiate the prices for these drugs to go on the formularies. And in most cases, the PBMs want the rebate price to be higher so that they get more money. And the money goes to the insurer and the PBM and not to the patient. We need to make sure that all of these discounts and rebates are reflected at the drug counter for patients and not for insurers and middlemen. So, and then also we need to look at risk pools for some of these very, chronic diseases, some of these very difficult diseases. We need to have special risk pools so that those people can actually get access to the drugs, and the rest of the population doesn't have to share in the cost. So those are my ideas for reform: PBM, 340B, tying reimbursement to effectiveness.
Sally Pipes is the president, CEO, and Thomas W. Smith Fellow in Healthcare Policy at the Pacific Research Institute. Her new book, The World's Medicine Chest: How America Achieved Pharmaceutical Supremacy and How to Keep It. Sally Pipes, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. And she joined us on a turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
It's your life, your legacy. Shouldn't it be your choice? For nearly 2 centuries, Catholic Cemetery Chicago has been a haven for families, offering sacred spaces to honor these legacies. Take an active role by pre-planning your final arrangements. Alleviate your loved ones a future financial burden. Lock in today's prices and take advantage of no interest payments and no hidden fees. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
Fellas, Dan Proft here. Let's talk about getting back to your best. If you lack energy, muscle mass, feel moody, or have low libido, it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer, but guys aren't all